The spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free. One more time from the top. 133,000. It's broken, y'all. Tap in, tap in. You know what it is. Shout to YouTube, YouTube, what up, what up? Oh, we live? Shit ain't what it seems. Look. I just played a video of this song. I want y'all to go check out, man. If y'all haven't heard it before. Loza Alexander. It's called Perfect. He's touching some buttons, some topics. He got Drake and Future in the video. Spell is broken. I don't know if it's real or it's AI. I mean, we got some technology out here, but man, I'm telling you. Let me know, man. Go check it out for yourself. Let me know. Spell is broken, y'all. In the comment. If y'all think it's real. Yeah, man. You think Drake is built like that? Yeah. You think Future built like that? Take that. See how we're gonna do this. I don't know. Maybe Drake's gonna tell you what happened. Let's go. This ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems, this ain't what it seems. Merely, life is but a dream. Merely. Maybe the spell is broken. This ain't what it seems. Oh. Life ain't what it seems, life ain't what it seems. Merely, life is but a dream. Merely, to be true, the spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free, the spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free. Damn it. I don't know, I just can't believe that. Like, spell is broken, y'all. They got some topics, bro. Like, see how we going? Yeah. Check it out for yourself. It's called Perfect. Drake's Future, Loza Alexander. This ain't what it seems. 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 Merely. You know what it is, man? Still Blaze, Campaign Mix. This ain't what it seems. It's time for the Party Podcast and Mix Show. This ain't what it seems. Right, no other. Let's go. This is but a dream. The spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. Finally, we can see the spell is broken. We free. The spell is broken. We see the spell is broken. We free. DJ Khaled voice, we the best. Can't dwell on it cause we manifest. I got tough skin, bulletproof vest. You say you for the people, put you to the test cause the spell is broken. People looking sad, I'm just in my bag. Only time I'm not here is playing tag. We ain't come off of both that big man. I ain't give it to a straight zigzag. Get your lick back, say you did that. I once did, but fuck, I had to get it back. Can't get it back, you gotta live with that. The government is cracking out of here with that. Now we know who we are. They mad, they know we a star. They lie, they owe us a car. Really, they owe us the land. Recruited, they owe us some hands. When they help, you owe us a hand. You silly, I know who I am. I'm an Indian, I don't give a damn. Why take problems with none of the perks? Just listen, they broke, we don't know how it works. The ops ain't gonna tell you the ops is some jerks. The ops really obstacles, we was the first. I'm spitting the scripture, they call it a verse. We pick the scripture, they call it a curse. Fucked up. We was really fucked like both ankles. When they try to help, I'm like, no, thank you. Trust them and they go flanky. They ain't conquer nothing, they get snaky. Don't sneak near me cause I will wake you. I'm really woke like pills naked. You show me love and I feel grateful. I'm not a hater, I don't feel hateful. I'ma say something, hope it reach the nation. That's appropriation, more appreciation. God created us, y'all a recreation. When you say Caucasian, all I hear is Asian. I'm a truth teller, I'm not an agent. Truth teller, I'm not an agent. I'm not fried, but the father's flagrant. When life's a world stage. Right is right, wrong is wrong. We know that we can police our own. This shit ain't what it seems. Life is but a dream. Whoever doing the asking is asking. We know who we are. They mad, they know we a star. They lied, they owe us a car. Really, they owe us the land. Recruited, they owe us the land. But they got one in hell. I know who I ain't. I'm a nigga, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Freedom ain't realized. Freedom ain't legalized. Realize. Freedom ain't legalized. Realize. Freedom ain't legalized. Realize. Yeah. Slavery was a long time ago. High. Same motherfuckers still here right now. Colonize on our land, they ahead of us. Change our name so much they scared of us. Stretching on the floor, y'all don't compare to us. Pale face people, this ain't y'all area. I'm about America. Pale face people, this ain't y'all area. Even if the plane feel good, I'm down. How you a victim, get your Karen. How you dismiss, you don't need spread. You got white privilege, so you don't need spread. Looking at my homeland, man, I can't believe it. Colonized came here, they never leave here. Indians ain't all office, we here. You ain't got a lot, just say you won't be here. How you American, but not indigenous? 400 years still ain't get rid of us. All the Europeans, nationalized citizens, made all the Indians, niggas on the system. Georgia 92, we was on the fences. Civil rights movement, we was so defensive. Wall Street, watch that so offended. Calling all rights, gave us amendments. Thank God don't speak truth, that's all right. First place, 16, 19 is all white. 12 hundred with no continent, all right. You're a baby, Africa, black, Grab to the car, come up, do your research. Don't get in, clear, listen to the teacher. Aboriginals was the mind to speak. Got to cut off, you got to make us bleaker. Really they form of the shit gets deeper. White don't know where whites come from either. Aboriginals ain't wake up from the ether. We don't know us and all land, that's evil. We ain't colonized right now, black people. Prisoner of war, that's why they ain't equal. Wake up everybody, don't do no shit. Freedom ain't free, really freedom is illegal. And we can't get mad at this white gang, we can't see their advantages. Privilege is real, they working in management. Low down dirty, but they call us savage. They want you to think they about that. All white people are part-time judges. I ain't no racist, but I ain't no sucker. I ain't no African, but they my brothers. Then my two got built up anger. You built everything, still waiting on the savior. Call yourself black, can you do me that favor? Black trolling, we can take you for a hater. Listening to your oppressors and haters. Game was a vibe on the star of our nation. Said we couldn't read when we didn't know the language. Keep us off paper because we didn't see the danger. American Indian, keep the religion. Skin copper color look just like a penny. Wanted our land and you called us stingy. Ain't no different trash, they gotta pay attention. We got ancestors, but the papers is missing. Kings and queens, you can't remember. Remember who you are, just like summer. Now they got a van, you don't want that English. George Washington is a black president, look it up. United States, only 10 square blocks, look it up. White people really the minorities, look it up. Courtrooms don't got authorities, look it up. You want me, sex, stop governing me. Gang gets strong, man, it's really not me. Why you don't keep it 100 with me? Why Trayvon killer still walks around free? Made this song for the who's don't hate. Clicking you told in reverse, I stated. Please to the first song, I gotta say it. America, 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 treating me like you cheating on me. I got an SSC and they leeching on me. They done went under the beaches on me. All you wanna do is tax me. You ain't even really ask me. Ain't no full disclosure. Made me feel like it's over. We break up, no closure. We ain't get no domestic. Is you foreign or domestic? Respect it, but you can check it. I care about this country. I care about this country. But this country got no love for me. It's treating me all right.
They say Jesus gonna save us. Well, I know we die if we wait. I know we die if we can't. They tell us we.
Yeah, you listening super playlist.
Look, we gonna die if we wait. They say Jesus gonna save us. Well, I know we die if we wait. I know we die if we can't. They tell us we black, but we ain't. Aboriginal, native, yeah, we gon' die every day. Cause we don't know where we came. We been here, lived here, open borders, got deported, fought for rights. Kidnapped, bitch slapped, blacked out, covered up, washed white. Drugged up, slugged up, beat red, left for dead, fuck your life. It's all the plan, kill your man, take your land, slay your kids, rape your wife. Why y'all look so mad if all this shit I say is true? Why y'all look so mad if all this shit happened to you? White man quick to tell you was a slave nothing before. He himself on it been free since 1840. Don't record it. I'm an ancient Egyptian from Atlanta. Straight from Canada, that's easy. The fake about me, no cappy rapping. I just feel the ink and I'm digital. No caveman, I'm original. Kentucky fried. Ancient creature with a lot of gold. My family history, I'm the guy to know.
Living like a siren. I don't need no driving license. Just a beauty like a license. That a body that is still the truth. You know they tried to draw me and I would see. But I'm alive, they can't bury me. Now I'm wealthy and scholarly. Walk on the sea like I'm JC. Now I'm
Tap in. Got Thomas Party Podcast. Make sure you know what it is. Shout out to the chat. Peace. What up?
feeling like I'm siren. I don't need no driving license. Just a beauty like a license. Let a ride and die and steal the show. You know they tried to drown me in Amity, but I'm alive, they can't bury me. Now I'm wealthy and scholarly. Walk on the sea like I'm JC. Now I'm doing bigger, better. I'm changing habits, never take meditation, cleanse the mind. Keep the soul clear. Don't you let them use you. Keep your weapon near. Celebration is the only way out here. You gotta be tired of dying and burying people alive. I know it's hard 'cause they shoot first. They pull up, yeah, they click clack, they do dirt. They go home, they don't get back. But they can't bother me, nah. For some non-property, this is essential. Supreme club, living off the living like a trillionaire. That's the mission. I ain't gotta care. Living on my dream and killing all the nightmares. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one.
How do you catch that?
Be the way every day.
What do you mean if I catch that?
Gotta keep my mind on the.
Let's go. Let's go.
The nice song of the story. I'm here telling lies like they are Moorish and Moorish. Kids get their money on bonus. But down here in the hood, yeah, we no forex. We growing up, yeah, we got the good. Build them assets, build my bag. Hit for the cash before the whole market crash. The news flash, just a flash from the past. We gonna smash it. Be prepared to hit the gas. Build the land. Get the wealth, change your name up. Get the target in your hands, it's your game up. Elevation, alright. We abide, blood eye, and we
Shout to the tribes out there, man. Shout to you know who you are. I know you that's what I started. Let's get it.
every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the. Cause they only telling they side of the story. I'm here telling lies like they are Moorish and Moorish. Kids get their money on bonus. But down here in the hood, yeah, we no foreign. Yeah, we got the good. Build them assets, build my bag. Hit for the cash before the whole market crash. The news flash, just a flash from the past. We gonna smash it. Be prepared to hit the gas. Build the land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the target in your hands, it's a game up. Elevation, alright. We abide, blood eye, and we travel. Blood eye, and we travel. Blood eye, and we travel. There ain't no one scar from a dingo. In the white mom, because I'm black. In the white mom, I got that dad. We got to see me in the
Captain.
We got the hearts and some great minds.
Let go. Let go. Come on.
Get the land, get the wealth, get the name, get the time in your hands, with the game of elevation, alright. We abide, blood eye, and we travel. Blood eye, and we travel. So what's happening? Government and all across the line. So what's happening?
Let's do it.
Shout to the tribes out there. You know what it is, man.
Do it.
What talking about?
Come on. Yeah. That's the Lucy. Hey, do it. Hey, all my rooms out there. What up?
I need you. Say that you know what I'm talking about.
What they do? Hey, turn up.
What up, man? Say what up.
Let go. Hey. What?
Shout to
What
the
happened?
what up.
What happened then, Gary? Let go. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Turn up. Let's go. Hey. Do it.
Shout to the matriarch.
I ain't never scared. Just that love.
What's happening? What up?
For this girl here. My nation, my nigga.
Of course, one of three. What up?
Just pure blood with pure bread. I'm like, let my people go and just take me instead. When it's red or blue pill, I'm only choosing red. I'ma always choose my people. You can keep that bread. Our government go a trillion. You can
Keep that bread.
Jim Crow showing me I don't want no white folks ruling over me. I don't want no politicians ruling over me. I no, ruling over me. Only somebody just like me gon' treat me like me. I'm Iron Wine Cherokee, Chief and Dr. G.L.E. I'm still a G like this. You might not this just me. You think you free, but you need remedy to this. I'm from the hood, I'm still waking up my people. They got us good, they still hating on my people. When it comes to fashion, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to music, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to dancing, the whole world wanna be like us. Foreigners are doing everything, trying to weaken us. Of course, y'all can't fuck with us. Rhythm know we killing y'all. Anything involve a ball. Mentally, we figured out the cosmos. After all the big shit, we smashing y'all. It's time to take through asking y'all. Rights by blood after all. Vatican and the Smithsonian got all our shit. Artifacts and relics still keeping us away from it. When they say that was a long time ago, that's racist shit. Y'all holding and keep stolen shit. We don't need y'all holding it. Reverse engineering our technology, controlling it. David, everything you got, but you can't put no soul in it. I ain't gon' see the new matrix cause I'm living it. Everything is not what it seems, but I'm killing it. Can you afford to pay attention who you living with? Now they're trying to mandatory facts, but is you getting it? Fall back off my knees, I'm peeping y'all tactics. This ain't no earth war, this shit is galactic. Goddesses and gods warming up like crack. Yeah, we don't put arrows on your chip like that. Occulus can't style like us, them fake niggas ain't all like us. They ain't got a soul, destiny as a child like us. Nobody can't roll like us, nobody can't talk like us. Nobody got nobody like us.
They go with them towns. What's the native to a native? $5 dog, feet out melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, we texting back on vacation. Yeah, I should you.
I got you. It's in the mix.
Yeah, you listening to like rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land pads, they go with them town homes. What's the native to a native? $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Hey. Yeah, I should you. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you and God are Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English plotted on our homes. Tribal families turn on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges.
Yeah.
We was something turn to nothing. Now we never turn to something.
Abracadabra, you heard? What you say? It's the listen, it's the turn up. It's the listen, absolutely, you heard? Come on. And up. Yeah.
We can never die.
Nope. You heard? You heard? Come on. Ooh. Turn up. Hey, wait. Listen.
Circuit pyramids, school of thought, follow God, fuck what your religion is. Y'all niggas, let's off review my pyramid.
Get y'all hype real quick. Let's go.
Look at that from my pyramid.
Come on.
I've been building miles, down the miles, circuit
Pyramids.
Follow God,
fuck what your religion is. Hey.
Y'all niggas, let's off review my pyramid.
What the creed is though. There you go.
Hey, look at that from my pyramid. School of thought. I was building mounds, all I did was dig. Now I'm building pyramids. Mama, look at what I did. Cut off the leash, took off the hook. The poor brainwashed off and just one book. Same book to my mama, turn the other cheek. Don't bring me no bitch, that shit ain't cooked. Did my research, find out my worth. Shit, I own everything on earth. That's what an Elohim with the young girl like me to cast off. Who around pussy down to the dirt. Master ceremony, listen what the God say. Manifest life off of what I say. First time D-I-N-Y-A. Pull up the liquor that I say I shake. I was building mounds. Now the mounds circle the
pyramids.
Follow God, fuck what your religion is.
Put the creed on it though.
Y'all niggas was small from the view of my pyramid.
Small. It's down here. Let's listen. Hold on, Blaze. Pull up, Blaze. Pull up, Blaze. Let that breathe for a second. Hold on 1 second. Moment of silence. Let that breathe. Lord. Hold on, I got feedback. Let it breathe. Mic check. Oh. Mic check again. All right, peace to everybody. You already know what it is. We live campaign mix, Blaze, each and every Sunday, 8 to 9 o'clock. You already know. Jump on that Mixed Cloud early. Go to the website that's floating at the bottom, the autonomousparty.com. Click on that link. You know what I'm saying? We also got a lot of mixes he's done. That's on SoundCloud too as well. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you tap in, go to the website, and get, everything's one place for you to function with us, social with us, all the other things we got popping. You heard me? So tap in with us, support, subscribe, like, and share. Tell your peoples. You heard me? Tap in with us. 8 to 11 each and every Sunday, unless occasion certain things happen, but usually we help. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. That's the campaign thriller. It's your boy Mac Gaither. Shout out to my boy God of Green, Super Blaze, Baron P, Firebird, Maroonville, everybody in the social club, everybody in the chat, from wherever you might be located at. You did tap in with us. And much love, Maroonville to you. We got a guest panel discussion tonight, you know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure I get my volume right. I still got a little feedback, Blaze. I think it's still, you got a line or something right there. No? I hear it though. Mic check. Interesting. Well, y'all hear me out there good? Everybody in the chat hear me good? We good? All right, well. Before we take off, though, you already know what it is. Part of my autonomy. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure we plug in. Shout out to Maroon J. We're going to play that real quick. Got a green. Slide that on him. And be right back. And we're going to pull up our guests. And I'm going to go ahead and get straight to it. You know what it is. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Tap in.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding broochies. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Pull up.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folk.
Black folk.
Never find a white aborigine. Aborigines called Indians, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't make aborigines.
For sure. That's the Luciano Macario. Shout out to my Maroons out there and all my indigenous people, whatever background you might be tribally claiming, whatever region you might be tapped into. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you for tapping in with us. But matter of fact, just to let y'all know, it's something, obviously on the flyer. We put, chasing the dragon's tail. And I want to go into that first. Because I got the Ghostbusters going on for a reason. It just seems like people in the conscious community seem not to want to talk about Rome. I don't know who other group they're attributing to doing all the things that's documented and charted from that group of people. Like ugly, good, bad, whatever you want to look at them. If you're romantic, it's nothing against you right away. But at the same time, Roman is tied to. I've never been romantic because of that. You know what I'm saying? That word Roman is tied to it. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Give me another word, ladies, to use. But however, the affectionate or something. Give me something different. You know what I mean? I ain't romanticizing nothing. But in this situation, we're gonna talk about them folks though, because they empire like dynasty, like the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? They did their thistle. You know what I'm saying? And it's documented. Say they probably the longest living joint to move the way they've done and go through their ups and downs like a dynasty would do. You hear me? Yeah, they did their thistle. I can't front. History says what it says, unless somebody can show differently. And this is what it comes down to. A lot of things tied to a lot of terms that we use today in history, today presently. You know what I mean? Africa is tied to the Romans. Asia is tied to the Romans. Meaning the word, like the word Asia, Africa. Oh, even though they say it's tribe of the Afar, but the Romans obviously go into that area where they say that tribe was, and there's wars and everything documented with that too. Europe, Rome goes into what people call today Europe early in the game. It says that Rome was in the area we would call Europe in 43 AD the other day when we was talking to AI. You heard me? And AI told us that there was Aboriginal melanated people already in the area of what we call today Europe before the Romans got there in 43 AD. But just to put out there, that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Talk to AI.
Finally, I got to talk to AI to get the, what's the questions? Yeah, that part. Yeah, but,
like the real AI.
Shout out to my dog. He had the answers back in the day, though. Played for Philly. You know what I'm saying? My dog AI. Bad news. We got our guest though that pulled up so far. Let's get him up here before we go through all the sources we got for this first topic of the night. Cheeto Power, what they do? Traveling band. What's up? How you doing?
What's up? What's happening, baby? What's popping with you?
I'm chilling, man. Chilling, man.
All is well.
All is well.
Yep.
What's happening with you, Mac? What's up, man?
What's up, Traveling Bell? What's popping with you, man?
Man, just chilling, man. Always happy to be on here and get some more knowledge, man. I love how you breaking down the so-called Black European thing, because that's the missing puzzle to all of it, man. And once people get that puzzle right there, man, and start connecting to the indigenous people here, you find out everybody that was in power was melanated, and it wasn't that long ago. When you understand it wasn't that long ago, you start trying to find out what exactly happened. And when you start realizing what happened, man, the movies and the textbooks they taught us some straight bullshit, man.
Bullshit ain't the word. You know what I mean? That's not. Hey, to be real with you, I'm gonna tell you that because of so much confusion in the history that I've gone through on the show, actually digging up all the sources and to show them the way we're gonna show what we're gonna do tonight. Whatever I'm gonna present to y'all, I'm gonna show you the source from where I got it from, and what I've interpreted and my perspective of comprehending what I've read, with other things that I would say correlate on a timeline tied to certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just for me on a worldly level of scholarship of just love and history. You know what I'm saying? And just wanting to see the different timelines and stuff like that. So, with that being said, before we get going, Nine Ether, what's up? How you doing? Peace to you.
Yo, you can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Anna, you done snuck up in here with Cheetah Paw and my man Traveling Bear.
Yeah.
You.
I love
I didn't even know they was gonna be here today,
man. He like a walking dictionary, that brother Cheeto Pop. You listen to him talk. It's like he's like you be there. It's like you be there when he be talking. Like you be at the moment he's talking.
He's still waiting for that Pirates of the Caribbean thing, though.
That's what I'm waiting on, man. That's what.
Don't talk shit.
Because you know that shit dealing with Rome too.
We're gonna get to it though. See, but I feel actually that's why I'm doing this first, Pop. Exactly why I asked you to come on this joint, because we were supposed to do the part joint of the Pirates of the Caribbean and that time period. But I want to get to some maps that's going to lead to the same time period where there is these clandestine, they would say, I guess because of the Romans. I'm gonna say the Romans will call these groups clandestine. You see what I'm saying? Not to say that they're clandestine, but from the victor's pen standpoint. So first, this is my thing, and everybody that shout out to all my indigenous people of the West Indies, all my Aboriginal people of the West Indies. You know what I'm talking about? Because I know we like this term Indies, which is American and Indies, so American Indian becomes the thing to term classify the First Nation people in obviously the North American, South American areas of period. It's the term being used, generally speaking. But see, the thing about this word Indian and Indies, right? It's tied to the Romans. It's tied to the Romans. So the Aboriginal people of the Indies did not call themselves Indies. Indeed. Am I wrong about that? Anybody that's on the panel tonight? Anybody disagree with that part?
No. They didn't call themselves that.
Yeah,
No,
we agree. We agree.
Okay. All right, because see, I think some people be running off with that. They be going full ham, you know what I'm saying? And just want to bang on semantics and not knowing the term they even banging with is a conquering term.
Exactly. All these terms, yeah.
So we got to be careful with that, you know what I'm saying? We end up fighting each other with terms as a foreign term in the first place, right? So it's funny enough, see, I could say that knowing that I got ancestry in some cases that would be considered foreign based off the fact that they are not of the First Nation people, even if they've been here prior to pre-Columbian time. I'll say it like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, what also being said is we can pull up the first joint. I want to show the first joint real quick. So I'm gonna show you this first source, and y'all can tell me, y'all can tap in whatever you want. You can pull it up, and we can get into it. So this part right here, though, I want to show some people some stuff just in case those who don't know, so everybody can be on the same page in the conversation, watching as well. You can scroll up a little bit, guys. Okay, Indo-Roman relations. All right, so I'm just using this as a reference. It says the first documented relations between ancient India and ancient Rome occurred during the reign of Augustus, and it says 27 BCE to 14 CE, the first Roman emperor. It says the presence of Europeans, including Romans, in the region known at the time as India, modern South Asia, including India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Eastern Afghanistan during the period of the Roman Empire is poorly documented. Before the conquest of Alexander, there are no surviving accounts of the contemporaries or near contemporaries of contact between Europe and South Asia, as so modern understanding depends on more abundant literature. It says numismatic and archaeological evidence, mainly relating to the trade between them. You can scroll up, guys. Hope you can scroll up. See, listen after me. See, I'm in the booth. Do you go too far?
The Scamochi nephew. My nephew in the chat, so I give shout out to him. Yeah, shout out. The Scamochi.
and then how it says here is so modern understanding depends on more abundant literature. And then obviously I read that part already. So it says mainly relating to the trade between them. It says the Romans were referred to as Roma Kas in India, while the Romans referred Indians as Indos. Now think about the time period of this word, calling a group of people Indians, and this word Indos being used in the time frame of Alexander, the first Roman emperor. Scroll back up and show the map one more time next to it that they're showing the regions that this word Indians and Indos is being used. Now, this time period, the Ethiopian Sea, and that's clearly going to be that Red Sea right there. The Mediterranean is going to be up there with them 3 red dots to the top. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously what people call today the Middle East and all that right there. You know what I'm saying? And the connection right there, Asia Minor and all that right there. And then you're going to come down, you see the tip over there to the far right. You know what I'm saying? We're right underneath sea, right above sea. That tip right there, that's what they call the subcontinent of India. Clearly showing you on this that back then, Rome clearly understands where India, not from the name standpoint, being that this is what people got to get to. What the Romans called the place called Indies from back then, even into the modern time of the New World theory, the word Indies is being used for any area outside of the regions of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Being that the Romans also gave that term too. Asia. What y'all think before we move forward? Anybody?
The first thing that comes to my mind though, when you bring this up, is that the fact that when they got over here to the quote unquote New World, they use that same term, a Latinized whatever version, which is all Roman anyway, right? So we all know that all of Europe is based on Rome. So all them places over there underneath is the Roman system. So we know they wasn't basing it on color, because we know the Romans genetically wise and historically were melanated. So it's not like they were seeing other melanated people and, oh, these are just some niggas, right? So why were they applying the name Indios to everybody else outside of their culture? So it seems that anybody outside of their culture or outside of their bloodline, they were applying that term to.
That's 1,000,000%. They were using that as a jurisdictional wall. So anyone outside of their jurisdiction, those was Indios, and later on became una gente los or dos Indios, people of God. But they were definitely using that term to speak to those that were outside of their jurisdiction, and it went from Indios to Indies, or the three Indies, like we hear all the three Indies talk, the two Indies, Prester John, or the one Indies.
Yeah.
So they had multiple areas that they considered to be Indies. So I'm in agreement.
Paul, real quick, if anything you want to say before I move on to the next joint, is anything you want to say about this part?
All right. Well, I know they was talking about the Indies Mountains, you know what I'm saying? Because if I'm not mistaken, Alexander the Greek, he had to go over the Indies Mountains himself, you know what I'm saying? And also Hannibal, oh boy, what's his name? Genghis Khan went over the Indies Mountains as well, where he had to go down there to Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the Indies part, from historical records that dealing with the 1300s, it was known as Hindustan, you know what I'm saying, in Pujan and everything. But remember, when Christopher Columbus was using that term, he was using it as in Spanish, right? Or so-called Spanish. And from him doing the Papyrus Bull, the Doctrine of Discovery, and them verses and everything, when he went on the first expedition, which was in 1492, right? That was sponsored by the Catholic Church. Most people don't know about that. But then the following year, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand actually sponsored him to go in 1493 to 1495. And then he didn't call them the people of God anymore. He called them Los Indios, meaning those without God. So he had to convert them to Catholicism.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought that up. I got some shit for that tonight, what you just said. See, before we even get there, though, I'm glad you said it, though. See? You know what I mean?
And then they use the same tactics, like they did in the 1960s for the civil rights with using dogs.
It's the same play. It's the same play.
Yeah, it's the same playbook.
When you understand the playbook of Rome, you start to understand the playbook of what the United States did, too. That's where they got their shit from.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, and before y'all go on, man, I saw this show tonight, and it just disgusted me, man. And it's a show. It's called Echo, and just for y'all bringing up these terminologies. But so I'm looking at this show, and the people supposed to be Chata people down in Alabama, wherever. So obviously they show the Native American, the so-called Native American, the Asian-looking Mexican, native. So they go back to 1200 AD. And 1200 they rolling on a canoe, so everybody looked like Juan and Sanchez and little John Buckley, and everybody got this, thin hair. They get off all these things, and they go into this place in Alabama, this city. It's all these city mounds, and it was frightful. So I recorded it, did a little video on it, this is cultural appropriation, you know. But when you can, when you change the names of things and you change the names of people and you change terminology, you mess around with the names of things, you can kind of switch people out when the people don't even know who they are anymore and you label them colors and crayons. You can play around with images like that. You know what I mean?
Yo, I watched a little bit of it. Shout out to the party. You know, I mean, we caught this in the background. We were just like, it's not even. We were, after I watched a little bit of it. You know, that's why we even really mentioned it like that. I was like, hey, all right, move on. Let's keep it moving. I mean, entertainment wise, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to, you know, watch it for that part of it. You know what I mean? The script of that part, but just the fact that, like you said, like, you know what I mean, how they misappropriate, you know. It was crazy, man. Today's whitewashing of things. And that's not even whitewashing because them folk, well, you know, I'm not going to get into it. So I'm going to leave that echo. I'm going to let that echo. You heard me? I can't even let it marinate. Let it echo. Feel me? Slide to the next joint real quick, God. So in this same time frame, just to let y'all know, just to give you a little more background on this part now, is the first source. I'm using these Wikipedias so we can move along. Because trust me, if I was to go through, it's a lot of reading. So this is for you can go find it yourself. If it's your first time knowing about any of this information, you go search it and Google it, and other things will come up with it as well. And you just got to go into detail and analyze these things. I ain't asked you to just go with everything, but I use this for a reason because I know this thing matches up, by the way. So if anybody wants to go against it, Alexander the Great, as it brought up on the timeline. You see where it says began in 327 BC. You slide up a little bit, God? You know what I'm saying? Slide up a little bit, God, so they can get this full thing right up. Slide up a little bit. Yeah, right there. All right, so now, just that paragraph right there alone, you know, some key words in there. Is after conquering the Achaemenid Persian Empire, the Macedonian army undertook an expedition into the northwestern Indian subcontinent. Within 2 years, Alexander expanded the Macedonian Empire to include present-day Punjab and Sindh in what is modern-day Pakistan, surpassing the earlier frontiers that had been established by the Persian conquest of the Indus Valley. See what I'm saying? You brought up the Indus earlier. See how the powerhouse it was, you know what I mean? Yeah, see how that walked right into it, right?
The brother say I'm a walking encyclopedia.
Walk right into it. You feel me? It walked right into it. So before it even shows it, you see how it lined up, right? But what you just said. So now, and you can slide down a little bit more, guys, before we move on to the next one. I just wanted to show that there is a whole source that talks about this man's campaign, Alexander the Great, at that time frame, going into using the term Indian, even though in that area there's other terms that them people call themselves, dealing with empires and dynasties, etc. That probably aren't on a mainstream level of being taught to us, right? But they're there. You feel me? Yeah. Just make sure y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? Like the Nanda Empire. See, the Nanda Empire. It let you know there was an empire that Alexander ran up into. You feel me? Just let you know there's empires and stuff out there in this area that they're calling the Indian campaign in 327 BC. And they're not talking about the West Indies over here. They're talking about over there. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that's clearly understood. Does anybody on the panel disagree with that? That everything we talking about on that side of the water, right?
Facts.
Yeah, it's on that side of the water. And you know what? Can I drop something right quick? During the time when Alexander the Greek did these things, remember this also played into 300, because if you go back and you look through the reference, Xerxes was the son of Darius. And when Alexander was making his conquest going that way, he actually married into the family of Xerxes, which is the son of Darius, dealing with the Persian Empire.
Shout out to the Book of Esther.
Yeah, and you know what else, though? Once you get your mind wrapped around that, most of this stuff, these bloodlines were all melanated people. Once my head got wrapped around that part of the story gets real deep after that, because these was all melanated bloodlines and clans and families and all that type of stuff going on.
Right. This is not a bunch of white folk.
No.
Yeah. Period. Matter of fact, shout out to the producer who actually did the movie 300, where he saw Xerxes was a melanated brother.
Right.
And so was the 300.
Right. Right.
That's the part they had to make sure they did that different. You see me there to slide that 300 in there, like, hey, look at us. But yeah, all right. But,
well, matter of fact, Alexander the Greek, he was actually Macedonian. So the Macedonians was niggas.
Macedonian army. Right.
Yeah.
The Macedonians were running with Alexander going into India.
Yeah.
Going against another empire of melanated people called the Nanda Empire. Then the people who proceeded after the Nanda Empire is the Maurya Empire. That's Maurya Empire. Was after them in that area of the Indian continent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At that time.
So the question, who would be the Aryans? Who would be the Aryans in all of this? Because we know that we got the Romans, and we've got the Macedonians, then we got the Indians, the Hindustan people, but then the Aryans come in at some point and change the whole situation over there as well. And what's their origins? Was this
the Aryans? The Aryans was niggas too. The Aryans was the noble niggas. And that's where Adolf Hitler knew, because he knew that the Aryans was niggas. Not the blonde hair, blue eyes. That came way later. But he knew, and that's where the Black Sun came from, dealing with the Aryans.
And hey, that's why all that right there. See, people don't understand it because they be looking at the modern part when somebody that don't look like us take on stuff that comes from people from back in ancient time, from antiquity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe mixing the dope of it and doing some little extra shit. You know what I mean? Like denominations and shit, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. Hey, it is what it is. Now, I'm going to keep it moving along because the link, the title, one of the titles on the flyer, because I couldn't put everything I wanted on the flyer to put everybody's names and all this stuff. So I kept it simple, right? And I appreciate y'all for that. You already know what it is. Shout out to each one of you. I'm gonna give you a chance to shout out everything as well. But I want to get to this part first, and then we're gonna get into that part, and then we're gonna go on. This next link, pull up, God, on the next joint. So I got some images. This guy right here. Stop on pause for the dude. This dude, Sebastian Munster. This is tied to the topic called Chasing the Dragon's Tail. The dragon's tail and his ideal of the map. And the dragon tail biting. You know what I mean? The mouth biting the tail.
Yeah.
The mouth.
Yeah, the circle. Yeah.
Serpent, right. Chasing the dragon's tail is tied to this man right here. Okay. Now, slide down, guys. I just want to make sure that people see the time frame. You know what I mean? See the time frame he living. So now it's some maps that come before him. All right. Some maps that come before him. But and the guy right here, this map actually is gonna let you know. Funny enough, in the first paragraph, just to give you a little background behind him, it says funny after Walzenmuller. See what I'm saying? And Walzenmuller's map is before Sebastian Munster. All right, just to let y'all know timeline wise. This is three names dominated cartography in the 16th century: MacArthur, Ortelius, and Munster. And of these three, Munster probably had the wildest influence in spreading geographical knowledge throughout Europe in the middle years of the century. His cognomegus, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, issued in 1544, contained not only the latest views of many well-known cities, but included the encyclopedia amount of detail about the known and unknown world, and undoubtedly must have been one of the most widely read books of its time, going through nearly 40 editions in 6 languages. All right. So let you know a little bit about what Buddy got going on in this time, how his influence is popping, right? And then it says, an eminent German mathematician, German, by the way, and linguist, Munster became professor of Hebrew at Heidelberg and later at Basel, where he settled in 1529. In 1528, following his first mapping of Germany, he appealed to German scholars to send him descriptions so that all Germany, with its villages, towns, trades, etc., may be seen in a mirror, even going so far as to give instructions on how they should map their own localities. The response was, far greater than expected, and much information was sent by foreigners as well as Germans, so that eventually he was able to include many up-to-date, if not very accurate, maps in his atlas. That's how I pronounce that too. He was the first to provide a separate map of each of the 4 known continents and the first separately printed map of England. His maps printed from wood blocks are now greatly valued by collectors. His 2 major works, the Geography and the Cosmographer, were published in Brazil, and I might be pronouncing it different from y'all, and by his Seps. It says SEPSA. You see, it says SEP. Don't be tripping on me. All right. I know. I want to say step, but it says SEP. All right. But either way, y'all know I ain't tripping. So anyway, stepson or stepson, however you want to go about it, for your politically correct people. Henry Petrie, who continued to issue many editions after Munster's death of the plague in 1552. All right, so that's a little background on him. We're gonna slide up a little bit. I just want to make sure everybody know who he is and everything like that. He made a lot of maps. You know what I'm saying? The dragon, chasing the dragon's tail and everything tied to him. Keep sliding, guy. Keep sliding. You know what I'm saying? And keep sliding. No. Keep going up. I want people to. I think there's some maps on there. I want people to see the maps because it's people like to see visuals, so let them see what the man's work did. You heard? And see the prices of the maps, certain things he's done. And some more joints we're going to show you. I just want to flow through this, give him his credit, because history, black history, right, of what people think of the world, it's tied to this man right here, too, in some cases. You know what I mean? Look at that map, $3,250. That's the one tied to the oval map, Columbus, America. See what I'm saying? Another one right here. He did, click on that one right there, guy. I think that's the one with the dragon. Is that the one with the dragon? I did this just in case I got another source to try to get. I got better maps. I want to show y'all. No, that's not it. That's not it.
All this stuff should be accessed in public schools, not no globe sitting on the desk.
Yeah,
there you go.
This is some of the stuff that from back in that time frame. You know what I'm saying? That he got popping on how he's writing them. Make sure y'all see how they looked back then. You know. But he did a lot of work. So go do the research on him. If anybody just found out about him, dealing with the maps and everything, because he had a big influence, German. Funny enough, Walzenmüller is a German as well. We can go to the next chart, because I think the next one got a better map thing, and I can keep it moving. Let's see if that one, I think that's the next one, got the dragon tied to it. Hopefully. I'm hoping. But I got to give him his credit, though, because it was like when I found out this man had all this tied to this, some interesting things come to it, because it's also tied to the Indies thing. But now, before we, this map to the right, you know what I'm saying? This is the map that it predates his map, you know what I'm saying? So I want everybody to know, Martin Walzenmüller, 1507. Make sure y'all see now, 1507. That's the map after Amerigo Vespucci showed that what we call West Indies is not connected to Asia. That's what Amerigo Vespucci just said it was famous for. Anybody disagree with that on the panel, by the way? To make sure we're on the same page? All right. So after they said that they gave credit to Amerigo Vespucci for showing that the West Indies, which they call from a Roman standpoint, is not connected to Asia, they updated the maps, and the person that updated the map is Walzenmüller, and that's why he gets credit for it. That's why he was mentioned along with Sebastian Munster on the other source of this show. You feel me? Cosmography, you know what I'm saying? And how they looked at the world. Now, before this time frame, I want y'all to know that this is why we did it this way, just to get to this map part out the way. Pull up the TO map real quick. So I don't want to just give credit. You see Amerigo Vespucci's named in that, so they all connected. Now, there's a map before, so just let y'all give y'all a brief clip of all this now. We've showed it before on the Negroes in the Oriental bill we did. So we're going to bring it back up one more time to correlate timelines and people that do maps. This is what the Europeans and the Romans thought of the world prior to the 1500s, and those map makers we just mentioned, a few of them, this is what they had in their situation. And this map situation goes back to the 7th century. And this person, Isidore of Seville. It's called the TO map. Now the TO map has some interesting things. It has it's actually sideways because technically, the word to the left, where it says Septentrion, that means north in Latin and Roman shit. So that's really supposed to be at the top. So the east is supposed to be somewhere else, and the meridian is opposite of north, which is south, and they have oceanus for what the word is for west, just to make sure people that didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? All right, you slide up a little bit, God. Now they also in their maps had it ideally based off of a religious ideal of what they thought the world was and who was located in certain areas. If you see the map to the right where it shows Asia, and you see that word, it look like a 5, but that's really an S. You know what I'm saying? That's Sim, but really it's supposed to be Shim. You see what I'm saying? Africa, you see that CHAM? That's tied to Ham, take off the C. You know what I mean? And that Europe part got really that little letters underneath Europa, that's Japheth. You know what I'm saying? That's tied to the religious ideal of the world from a Roman standpoint. Now,
you
know what I mean?
But I got a question. Did the Romans see America and Asia as one and the same? Okay.
No.
Because we speaking about maps here, right? Well, your boy and them, but Rome and them had maps that's older than that.
Right. They do. But this is the one, I'll use this for a reason. You can slide up a little bit, because this is all tied to like because they remember I just showed you they updated this after Amerigo Vespucci did what he did.
Right.
It was only 3 continents. That's what I'm trying to point out. 3 continents. Right. 4 continents came after Amerigo Vespucci. You know what I'm saying? We don't got 7 continents yet in the world in this time frame yet. You see what I'm saying? The apps ain't being updated at that point yet. You see what I'm saying? Us knowing there's 7 continents, and you know what I mean? These are land masses.
The reason
mapped out.
the reason I asked that is because there are some people who they have the theory or the history, or they have the understanding that when they hear the word Shem or Hebrew, some people tied into the Americas. So when I saw that they were saying that on this map, I thought when you said the religious concept, I thought of people who have that theory and that concept, they tie all of that into the Americas.
Now you see though,
stuff like that.
Reason why you look, I had this theory myself since you're showing that.
Yeah.
Go back down, God. So if in the 15th, go back up to that map right there. Can we click on that map to the right? Click on that.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, exactly what you're saying. I'm gonna show it real quick. This is why I see the confusion can be there, right? Because look, where you look at where it says Asia right there, there's no America yet on the map. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no continent. There's no 4th continent. There's only 3. And Amerigo Vespucci, along with Walsenmuller, who updated the map, which came to 4 continents, right? Because they realized that this place we call the West Indies, aka America, is not connected to Asia, which in the religious sense would be tied to the biblical lands of Shem, based off of the idea of what areas, the religious texts, and those dynasties, the empires, etc. You know what I mean? In their race theory at that time, because they used the religious text as their race theory.
Exactly.
As they so-called say, the 3 sons of Noah supposed to be Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Right. Right.
And all races come from them, right?
And all
so-called, but we know that's not true. But we know that's not true, though.
Right. That's the narrative that they put out. You know what I mean? I'm just showing it from the historical standpoint, secularly speaking, historical. With you know what I mean, for those who can look at it just from that understanding.
Yeah, why they think
the
way they think.
Right.
Easy.
Right.
Easy. All right, so we're gonna slide on. I want to make sure that people just saw that up close. Cause we showed it before, but maybe they didn't catch it. So that's why with Sebastian Munster and all the other stuff, I want to make sure in Black History Month that we show people this is some maybe the confusion that's taking place, just dealing with the word Indies, Indian in the first place, and how originally the Romans are tied to it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We just happen to be in a region called the West Indies because it was conquered not until the 15th century by the Romans.
Exactly.
European crowns that came over here and used papal bulls tied to a Roman Catholic Church to do so. You know what I'm saying?
It's all
So,
priesthood. It's all tied to a priesthood.
Definitely. And it's some documentation. God, keep it moving. I want y'all to be here before this convo. That's why I got sources.
What you were showing, though,
Yeah.
to make it clear, the fact that you were showing that there was only 3 or 4 continents to these people at a time, and they were calling Asia Shim or whatever, that shows that they couldn't have been applying it to the Americas. From that map, they didn't even know the Americas existed, according to, or at least in their religious sense, it didn't matter, you know?
Well, they thought that all of the area. Can you make this map bigger? See, this is Monster again. See, I brought it right back around for y'all to know. But we move on from this part of this part. We're gonna take off after this. Can you make it bigger, God? There we go. Yeah. So now look, this is Sebastian Monster in 1552. You know what I'm saying? His influence after everything's evolved, right?
Yeah.
Now look, they got that pink area right there. That's North America. See Florida sitting on the tip at the bottom.
Sure.
And then you got some Caribbean areas right there. They got right there. And
got too. Greenland too. They seen Greenland as part of America.
You see that? You see that? Right. They got all that up there. Right. You see that? Right. You know what I'm saying? And then down here, that's South America. You see how they got that right there? And then across you got Africa, as they would say. Then look, Europe right there is on top. That little green area right there on top. Small. Feel me? Look how big Asia is. Though.
Yeah.
It's huge. You know, certain areas of that area right now, Russia claims most of it.
Yeah.
Going all the way to the tip that actually hits what people like to call the Bering Strait.
And Alaska used to be part of Russia too.
Yeah, and technically, yeah, if you look at it, they got Asia as if it's connected to America. Because if you look at that far right corner, you see that piece of land right there sitting out there?
Yeah.
On the far right, where the yellow stop and it's red, that's supposed to be the west coast of what we call America.
That's why Sarah Palin said, I can see Russia from my house.
That red little part right there, you see that little green in the middle? It's yellow, and then you see a little green in between, and you see that little red little edge. That's basically what we would call Canada today.
Right.
So the Inuits only became Native Americans when Russia gave up territory to the U.S. and Alaska became a state.
Ooh.
Well, actually, Russia didn't give it up. Russia just only leased it.
Leased it.
They leased it.
Like the whole country is basically being leased.
Hey, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
That's why Japan had attacked Hawaii 2 weeks dealing with the World War II, because the United States said it's supposed to have sold it to Japan, but they couldn't sell it because they didn't have the rights.
I want to make sure everybody got this clear though. We're gonna always show it like that. You know what I'm saying? This party last Sunday of the Black History. I think the world history is tied to us because melanated people throughout this whole globe, they showing right here. In all these regions, they're all over this place right here. There's no missing part where there's no melanated people at. All right, in this time frame.
The old world, man. When they talk about the ancient world, they talking about a world when the melanated people were the empires and the emperors and the queens. That's what they talking about.
Right. Yeah. Even though it took them some time for them to get to their theory and concept to work, but I'm not gonna go into that tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
You ain't gonna let them steal the show. You know what I'm talking about? No.
Yeah.
We move on to the next joint, God. So in this situation, though, I just want to make sure I show that, you know, just an example of what Monster did in 1552. You see what I'm saying? And as I showed you maps before, just to give it examples, he's the one though. India, the tail of basically Asia and America is the dragon's tail that he's breaking down. I don't know if I can find one of them in this joint before we slide, God. Is there one of them? Look, wait, they got that. All this shit Monster, you heard? Most of this shit tied to this man. He got unicorns he drawing and everything. All right, Monster got all sorts of posters. You can buy all this shit. Make sure y'all can go find this. Go look it up. Look what he detailing and everything. You see, you know what I mean? All this is on here. But either way, we're gonna slide. The dragon's tail. Chasing the dragon's tail. Type that in with Sebastian Monster and go on your journey. I should say it like that. Go on your journey. You'll see what you find. So what y'all think about that before we get popping on the next part of this? You know what I'm saying? Wait, we got anything else on that? What's the next thing, God? Indy? All right, Indy. Because I want to get down to how we supposed to be Indy out here dealing with the word Indy, based off also what the Indies also meant to those people that had empires in the places they called the Indies because they were moving independently, you know what I'm saying, outside of the regions of what Rome was doing, and they run. That makes sense to y'all? Anybody disagree?
No, I mean, you always hear different understands of the word Indian, man. Indios, God's people, lost Indios. You always hear the Andes Mountains in South America. Like I heard this one guy talking about the word America and having some indigenous ties, and it made some sense. It did, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of knew some of it anyway. But you start to realize that even some of the names that they're calling these places, the people had variations of those things before they even showed up. So when you understand like the word American and America, and you start to understand the whole lineage and the whole concept of it all, it's been turned into a political status, and it bothers me a little bit because somebody can come here and raise their hand up to a flag and become an American, but it's really an ethnic group, that's tied into history and bloodlines and peoples. But I can't go to Russia and be a Russian. I can't go to Egypt. I was there 10 years and never became an Egyptian. So, you can come here and just anybody can wear our clothes. And, we just got to do a better job of making that loud enough, saying, we are under occupation. It's not just Israel and the Palestinians. The American Aborigine has been under occupation fully, at least since 1865, but probably longer than that. But I'm going to say at least since 1865, totally being colonized and reclassified. It's been 170 years at least. So we've been at war for over 300. So, I mean, that's just, my word on that, man. We just got to get back to calling ourselves, being into our culture more, whatever that looks like in 2024, whatever date this really is. You know what I mean?
What does it look like? Right. What's it look like? I think people are trying to figure that out still. Like,
yeah,
delineation. We're gonna get into that next week after delineation. But we should be able to delineate just all the fact of folks that we know who have a history of being here in the time frame of the markers that are used by the people that conquered it. You know what I'm saying? And if your people were here in that time frame, I think that indigenously speaking, the United States is very young compared to the history of melanated people that came here and those who were already here. They're very young compared to them groups of people. Either way, so to me, it's like, I'm not about to Rome is Rome, just like Congress is Congress to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
You gonna better know how to deal with them. But however, we can go into the next joint real quick, God. And
colonizers don't have no color, man. Colonialism is colonialism, man.
Period. Exactly. At this point, yeah. White devil, black devil.
Yeah, let's keep it 100, man.
Independent record company, right? It gives you this, like right there, you can see it. They go into the music and shit like that. Most folks, talk about having a masters in music right there to be independent and have a masters. But slide down, God. It's not what I really wanted to get to. I really wanted to show the bottom part because it's funny. They put this first, dealing with like today's ideal of being independent. You know what I'm saying? The word indie, right? Like indie, like indies, right? But then they bring the adjective to it. In English, originally of churches, look what it says. Indie, 1610, not dependent on something else. And it says from, in, not opposite of, dependent. French independent is attested with 1600. Italian independent T with the E on the end from 1590s. In English, originally of the churches, nations, in reference to persons from 1660s, meaning able to live without labor, is from 1732, meaning unbiased, set up so as to be unaffected by outside influence, is from 1790. That's when the first census is taken, isn't it, y'all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody recall that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the King James Bible, was being worked on in 1610, and it got finished in 1611.
It sure did. Algonquin, right? It was an Algonquin, right? Something like that, right?
Now, so when this word's being used in this same time frame, indie, right? It's still tied to this word. So I use the etymology. But then at the top, they try to put music at the top of the noun. But then when they give you the adjective, it goes back to these time frames of what we just broke down just now, like what certain things are happening in their lexicon. And that's happening over here. You know what I'm saying? And how they're looking at independent groups that are able to move without having to be governed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting the word Indian. I mean, it's interesting that you're saying that. The first thing popping in my head is, like my mind go everywhere. But the fact that they was calling everybody encountered, it seems as though that they were calling everybody they encountered that was outside their jurisdiction or their empire Indios or Indos, right? And we know it wasn't based on color and phenotype because they were similar to most of the people they were encountering, right?
Right.
So it had to be a jurisdictional thing. At least I think so, because
that's what it's about.
Yeah, because they had to been calling us that because we were independent of them.
Yes, underneath. That's why they're converting you and making you become a Christian or a Catholic or whatever different situation, which is underneath their jurisdiction that they're moving independently underneath, using the church, which is tied to their nationality. You see how I just said it, right?
So you're saying
once we stop being churches and nations.
Once we stop being independent, you all of a sudden now you colored and black and African American and
you're dependent. You're dependent as a citizen, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, which gives you that are able to self-identify you from an outside standpoint. You know what I mean? Because you now have been influenced in that manner, as it shows right here. This word India is tied to independent. It's as a noun from the 1640s. Look, and you see how at the top it said now, but in this bottom part it says it goes back to what time frame. It says as a noun from 1640s as a member of an independent congregational church, English Congregationalist. It attested from 1670s as one who acts according to its own will. Look at that. 1808 Pacific sense person not acting as part of a political party. There is no political parties back then, is it? There's no Democratic at 1640s or a Republican Party at that time.
No.
Feel me?
The parties at that time was Christianity and Islam.
That part.
There you go. Damn. You
and crypto Jews. And crypto Jews, you heard? Moving independently underneath that situation as well. You feel me?
And Hebrews. Don't forget the Hebrews.
And then you got the Indies, which is the Aboriginal people in the Indies that were there already that are still practicing their thing underneath the veil as well. You know what I mean? Everybody moving crypto. Trading and doing their relations.
And these were the bloodlines. These were bloodlines. Bloodlines of the same people of different bloodlines fighting each other with different religious, cultural backgrounds, but from the same origin, fighting each other all through Europe and North Africa, man.
Aboriginal peoples, like Malcolm X said, right?
Exactly. And the war spilled over into the Americas. We got all mixed up in it. And this is why, that's why one of the reasons why you'll find so-called Black Europeans in our family, because a lot of them were running here. They wasn't at war with us. A lot of them, they were coming here, falling in love, mixing, trading. Some of them was running, being persecuted. And some of that stuff was through war and conquest. So this is why you find the mixtures and stuff in it, because of stuff. All this stuff will prove to you exactly what y'all been saying, what everybody been saying about some of the admixtures on the indigenous people here. And it's more likely from Europe and North Africa, more so Europe than it would be West Africa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, now, Anita, before we slide on, is anything you want to say before? Because I'm almost getting there. I just want to make sure I wanted y'all to be here for the part of what we share.
It's basically on point, so keep it cooking.
I mean, Paul, what you think? Anything? I know, Paul, you gonna tell me the truth if I was tripping, right? Am I tripping right now? Everything lining up?
No, you ain't tripping at all, bro. Because remember, all those families, they operating under the uniform or the Universal Catholic Code anyway, which is under dealing with canon law and ecclesiastical law. Okay. And when people them say church and state is separated, it's not, because the church is the estate.
The original estate that came that would be foreign to this land.
Yeah, and that's why they was the ones that did trusts and all that there, and banking and everything, because that's also go back to the Templars too. Now the Templars and them had a real map as well, but nobody don't talk about the maps of the Templars.
Oh, 9 need to do. Shout out to 9
Nah.
before I got him here. See,
Now, is this the
I got
reason
9
why
here
they
for a reason.
call everything a state? You keep saying like the church, the original estate. And this is why we
It's-
got the state of Virginia, the state of Pennsylvania, the state of New Jersey.
All that's
That's
under
the commercial
Commonwealth.
side, right?
Yeah, all that's Commonwealth.
Originally borrowed from that. A state became a state commercially, but
Right.
the East State originally was tied to the ecclesiastical situation of the people that were coming over here independently and setting up shop, settling in the lands of most indigenous people.
Your estate's in the state and probate with them cowards.
Right. Right. So you got people running around here talking about they got a lawyer title. I'm like, you know that come from the church?
He got a fez.
You gotta go pre-allodial.
Talking like that.
You gotta go pre-allodial.
Bruh, Pa, wait, stop, pause. Wait a second. See, you done slipped one in there. You think you slick? You slick. You try to slide one in there just now. I see you. I know you too well. We both Aries. I was a slut one right there.
You already know.
But bruh, I since you calling out pseudo this and pseudo that, we hear a lot of people, and it's not against the fact that their heritage being tied to who they might literally can prove they have. But when it comes to certain things and them telling people information and not understanding the jurisdiction, that's how we know that you're ignorant to the law. Because even if you might know that your grandma was this, that don't mean you understand the jurisdictions and how things intertwined and how you ended up in your position called something else outside of what your grandma told you. At the end of the day, that's why niggas got to get their mind right on this jurisdiction and this law. You ain't gonna go around it. You in it. That's reality. You ain't gonna play no games with that part. You feel me? We ain't gonna play no games with that part. So there, a allodial title is not a, my bad real quick. I'm gonna land. A allodial title is not a indigenous term. It was Aboriginal title. Yeah, that's the closest, and that term wasn't even the term we called it. But when they used it in the manner of those who had Aboriginal title of this land that they were dealing with, that they respected in a chartered type of situation, the term was called Aboriginal title, not allodial title. Just to put that on the record.
Because the allodial title went back to the medieval ages, where dealing with the 1200s, when the knights and them actually gave their jurisdiction to the king. And the king signed off onto it, and he turned it over to the Pope, and that was all it wrote.
That was it. That was it, because the state of something, the natural state of something is the ground, the trees, the animals, the people, the rivers.
Bingo.
When you commercialize that, now you done made the trees and the dirt and the people, the air, the fish, the rivers, you done commercialize, packaged it up, and everything is commercialism now. So basically what they did after they won the wars and conquered everything, they usurped the natural law and put a common ecclesiastical, religious, techno-tyranny that's been ruling over our people for the last couple of centuries. But we're starting to see the shakedown and breakdown of it now. But,
and that's why they say you need a license. You need a license to operate in commerce.
I want to go into this though, since you said that. So when it all first laid down, right? I just got to showing you who the guys was making the maps and shit, but like now we get into the law. We talked about law just briefly in that jurisdiction and shit, right? So this is where it's being laid down, tied to the first.
I think he froze.
Yeah, I'm about to say that too.
Yeah.
We was talking too much shit on here.
Did everybody go out or just me?
No,
it was just you. You back now? You back now?
Okay. Everything went black on me. I was like,
you was about to start talking some big shit. They was like, yeah, we gotta let him know we watching.
Cool. Yeah. Check on. It's their sources. All right. So at the end of the day, don't be mad at me. I'm looking at their own shit like AI do, right? You go feed AI. I'm just a human feeding the same situation, right? So anyway, it says the Council of the Indies. And then it says here, officially the Royal and Supreme Council of the Indies. And then it goes into how was the most important administrative organ of the Spanish Empire for the Americas and those territories it governed, such as the Spanish East Indies, meaning that's separate Indies from this Indies. You see what I'm saying? I want to make sure that's clear. You see how they're showing that? Y'all see what it's saying, right?
Yeah.
That's why we walked through the Indies thing in the beginning to show you that Rome already knew about East Indy. But when they came to the area they called the West Indy and started putting down laws and jurisdictions and shit, you heard me? Yeah, they got their council setting up on the land over here. You know what I'm saying? And it's talking about literally, and it's saying Council of the Indies was an administrative advisory body for those overseas realms. It was established in 1524 by Charles V to administer the Indies, Spain's name for its territories. Such an administrative entity on a consular model of the Council of Castile was created following the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire in 1521.
Yep, with Cortez.
Come on now.
With Cortez. Yep, with Cortez.
People don't have to understand.
Calling both places Indies because these people in these places were independent of the Roman Empire.
Oh, that's why we did it like that, bro. You got it, brother.
Yeah. And he wasn't. And the crazy thing is, Traveling Bear wasn't even in our discussion earlier this week. So it comes full circle. And I like that they said the Council of Castile because we know Castile,
it was in Spain at that time, right?
And Castile was set up by Ferdinand El Negro Nunez in 850. So we had a Negro setting up Castile in the year 850, and they still holding to them councils.
Yeah, we got a Negro. The first person called Negro in history that we can record that we've gotten back to with the series on that side of the water, tied to what we would call Sephardic Jews, Marrano, Moriscos, Moorish, and all those different other terms in that area of what we call today Castile, Europe, Spain, Portugal, and all them other areas, France. You know what I'm talking about? Don't leave them out. You see what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. You heard me? But at the end of the day, they already know because they say the Spanish East Indies. Because see, that go back to shout out to back for us mine, the Treaty of Tordesillas, Waters and Wars. And Portugal and Spain did a treaty with the Roman Catholics, that's the referees, to say that this is going to be your portion of this area of the New World, and this is going to be
divided his empire. That's what he did. He divided the empire. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And at that point, this is now their expansion of going into the Indies, which included the same place when it comes to East Indies, the areas that Rome already knew about, they just didn't have control of independently at that time. Trade, spices, just like they didn't have control of the West Indies and the empires such as the Aztecs right here, the Inca or the Mayans, because none of these empires on this side didn't fall until 1520s, 1521 around about, just to point it out since they put it there. Look, matter of fact,
so the East and the West Indies would be out of their jurisdiction. Even the East on that side would be out because they still never had a control over it, and the West would not be. And they really speak of three Indies. So you got India, and then a mysterious Indies on the East. And then this one that's supposedly be on the West.
That part. We on the same page, everybody here? All right, bet money now. Look, check this out. Right after that, it says, which demonstrated the importance of the Americas. Originally, an itinerary council that followed Charles V. It was subsequently, I'm going to look a little bit, so I'm going to mess that word up. It says, established as an autonomous body with legislative, executive, and judicial functions by Philip II of Spain and placed in Madrid in 1561. Now, Sebastian Munster got maps going through this whole time frame. That's why I'm showing you that before I showed y'all the law. See, and you see, shout out to the Autonomous Party. That's why we know how to be autonomous, because we understand what autonomous people do. You feel me? I mean,
but look,
basic, you know it.
But look, you see the three branches of government, right? The three branches of government fall under the Roman Empire.
There you go.
Yep.
You gotta know. You gotta see it.
DC is the head of the Roman Empire in the United States. It's still
it's called little Rome. That's right. It's called little Rome. DC.
Come on now.
Called little Rome.
Let's keep it real. District of Columbia is still tied to what we call a Roman ideal or something. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, people just gotta catch that. See everybody fighting amongst each other, but see Rome and Congress, boy, they look like each other. You know what I mean? It's just the new version.
That's why I had to tell
on this side.
That's why I had to tell my Rastafarian partners. I say, dude, this is not Babylon. This Rome, son. You dealing with Roman. You dealing with Roman laws, not Babylonian laws.
Right. Don't get this shit mixed up. Right. People trying to mix this shit up. Giving us Egypt. They want to talk about Babylon. They want to talk about, you know what I'm saying, Persia. Listen, all that sound good about melanated people in all those groups of areas, right? But when we're looking at the timeline and what jurisdictions and what this terms like executive, legislative, and judicial things come from, and where we get it from Rome. We don't get it from nothing else based off a real historical timeline, based off what we could say came in and conquered the empires on this side of what we call West Indies in the time frames of the 1500s. You're not going to give me something else. I want to see something else. Show me some Ghostbusters. I need y'all to let
But
me
you know what, Matt? But you know what? I remember when I was in elementary school, right? My 6th grade teacher, he was teaching about how the Roman Empire fell, and I politely raised my hand. I said, Mr. Dupree. He was like, yeah. I said, how the Roman Empire fell when you had King George III, who was the holy elect of the Holy Roman Empire. So how did the Roman Empire fall when y'all say that it fell, but yet he was the holy treasurer of the Holy Roman Empire in the 1700s?
I don't know.
Yeah, because it didn't fail. It ain't fell. It ain't fall.
It didn't fall.
Somebody lying. And you know what's crazy, man? Mac, man, I be looking at a lot of y'all videos. I be talking about how you break down the bloodlines in Europe. That's important because it really gives you the understanding that the people that we see in power today, a lot of that stuff is like figureheads. But the people really in power, them bloodlines ain't go nowhere. Them melanated bloodlines still calling the shots today.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't see them. But the people we see today, everybody voting for them and Trump, everybody crying and all that, these are executive CEOs of a company. The people really running the show look like my Uncle Carl, look like my Uncle Ski. You know what I'm saying? And we be missing that because, you know, we think that it's a color thing.
Uncle
but
Rufus
people that's in power, they look like us, but they really don't like us. So we understand, well, how can somebody look like me be in power and treating us like this? Well, because they don't like your ass.
It's black devils, bitch. Just stop playing.
There you go.
I'm sorry for all the children listening right now.
Black devils that
you listen to music, goddamn. I feel like Charles White when I said that. Don't be mad at me when I cuss and you listen to music out here. You know what I'm saying? Cussing all over the place, and I cuss here and there, and I'm reading all this historical shit. Don't be playing with me. You heard me? Don't do that. Now, let's go on to the next joint, though. I just want to make sure that's for the record, because y'all be tripping sometimes. You know what I'm saying? They be trying to be hard on us to try to give you this real information and want us to act outside of our character and shit. Like I'm not supposed to be who I am and shit. I don't know. But y'all to let you people do all sorts of shit out here. But at the same time, I ain't mad though. Do what you do. It's your will to do what you do. Pursuit of happiness.
No, it's important to know you've been indoctrinated. And if you know you've been indoctrinated and lied to, you can start unraveling the stuff. But if you don't accept the fact that, all right, we lost, we got lied to, they reclassified us. If you don't accept those realities, you're never going to get out of the matrix. You got to really accept the fact that, all right, we've been lied to, we got colonized, all right, our clans got broken up, and people that did it, that started and infiltrated us look like us, and we had battles with them, and now we being controlled by their proxies, basically. And once you understand all of that, you understand the origins of all this system, you can start to breaking down. That's why it's important to understand Rome is the key, because Rome is the system we're living underneath of, not Babylon.
Yo, could you hear him?
No, I ain't hear nobody.
Yeah, he's talking. Mac, you talking?
No, I'm talking to the background. You know, we got a background.
No, I ain't hear nobody. It was all silent.
No, I let that last slide just slide because I don't, really, I think that we got a certain point across. And the last source was really just the vice royalty. For those who don't know, just like how it showed there was a council. So when there was a council, the vice royalty are set up in the same governance underneath that system of legislative, judicial, and executive situations. You know what I mean? And they're setting up shop. So the vice royalty are in positions, even though they're answering to the council, and the council is answering to the crown, which is the monarch, which is the king, how it shows you in that source. So I'm just wanting to make sure that shows you the steps down based off of their system that's coming into the West Indies, aka the Americas, at that time in the 15th century. So it can be understood in the correlation, because people don't even understand that. And we thought, this is our remix of doing it, by the way. You feel me? Because I ain't going to go back. They're going to keep it moving to be in this time. But I want to make sure we give it to them on Black History right now, as best as I can. God. move to the next joint. We're almost there because now I'm ready to take off. I really wanted to make sure everybody got that. I wanted y'all to be here with me though, because this is the part this is the goodie part, y'all. This is the goodie part. Hey, Cheetah Pop, your cousin, right? Ain't he got a last name close to that right there? Bartholomew?
Oh, yeah, that's one of my family last names. Yeah. Yeah, that's on my mama and daddy side.
Yeah, you got that, huh? You got that, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I caught you then. I got you, man. No, now, but for real shit though, when I seen the source, I thought of you. I ain't gonna lie. That's when I reached out to you. Actually, I was like, Paul, I need to get Paul on the show. I'm gonna get Paul. And shout out to your cousin though, who passed away a while back, Jason.
Yeah, Jay. Yeah, that's when we had the Blog Talk Radio. We was dropping Jews on there then. And we said that back in 2012 that y'all thinking that it's the pale face. It was like the pale face is just the front man, but it's niggas that's running the show.
You see that name though. You see, I knew you would know that name. See, but this person, I found this interesting about this guy right here because we just talking about council. See, I'm just lining certain things up quick in Black history. Give you some detail they ain't gonna show you in Black history. You know what I'm saying? He's just melanated folk. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't know, you know what I mean? We all gonna just put it out there.
And Bartholomew. That's a Hebraic or Hebrew name. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
All 100%.
Right. Yeah, we Sephardic. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it's gonna show. It's gonna show now. Look, y'all. Look what it's saying about the brother. Now, look, this man right here. When I read through him, I had to shout him out. Again, I thought about you, and at the same time, it was just too synchronized off of what I just showed y'all prior to that in this conversation, right? So we're gonna slide up a little bit, guys. Slide up a little bit so we can give him a little bit of meat off the bone. Start right there. All right. Thank you, dog. All right. Now let's say the ultimate cause for writing this work was to gain knowledge of the many nations of this vast new world. They had been defamed by persons who feared neither God nor the charge, so grievous before divine judgment, of defaming even a single man and causing him to lose his esteem and honor. From such slander can come great harm and terrible calamity, particularly when, in causing him to lose his esteem and honor. From such slander can come great harm and terrible calamity. I read that shit twice. Look at that. It says large numbers of men are concerned, and even more so, a whole new world. It has been written that these peoples of the Indies, lacking human governance and ordered nations, did not have the power of persons to govern themselves, which was inferred only from their having been found to be gentle, patient, and humble. It has been implied that God became careless in creating so immense a number of rational souls and let human nature, which he so largely determined and provided for, go astray in the almost infinitesimal part of the human lineage which they compromise. From this it follows that they have all proven themselves unsocial and therefore monstrous, contrary to the natural bent of all peoples of the world, and that he did not allow any other species of corruptible creature to err in this way, accepting a strange and occasional case in order to demonstrate the truth, which is the opposite. This book brings together and compiles certain natural, special, and accidental causes, which was specified below the chapter. And then this Roman shit be fucking with me. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, right? It says CCL X II3. Now this man Bartholomew, by the way, he wrote three different versions, three different chapters of the Indies in the 1500s. All right. When Columbus is rolling down, this man got all this shit documented, what I'm showing you right here. All right. This man got all this shit documented. He became a Dominican friar. You know what I'm saying? This man was basically dealing with the judicial, everything we just read on the council side. He was the intermediary between the Indies, meaning the Indians, and the Spanish courts
Yeah, he
that
was
were
considered
here.
friend of the Indians.
Yes. Yeah. Him right here. All right. So now I'll go because I can't read the whole thing.
And he
Now slide
wrote
down. Slide down,
extensively.
God. Slide down.
He wrote extensively to the courts in behalf of Cuba and Puerto Rico, the treatment of what they were getting over there, and this is why he had a lot of beef too.
Matter of fact, it says right after that, right there, it says, not only have the Indians shown themselves to be very wise peoples and possessed of lively, marked understanding, prudently governing and providing for their nations as much as they can be nations without faith or knowledge of the true God, making them prosper in justice, but they have equaled many diverse nations of the world, past and present, that have been praised for their governance, politics, and customs. And this is to exceed by no small measure the wisest of all these, such as Greeks and Romans, in adherence to the rules of natural reason. This advantage of superiority, along with everything said above, will appear quite clearly when, if it please God, the people are compared with another. This history has been written with the aforesaid aim in mind by Fray Bartolome de las Casas, or Casillas, however you want to do it, a monk of the Dominican order and sometime bishop of Chapia, who promises before the divine word that everything said and referred to is true, and that nothing of the untruthful nature appears of the best of his knowledge. This nigga now, look, he putting it down. You heard me?
Dang, but you know what jump off the page though is that he's telling you about these Indians that he's meeting.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's calling them that because they're independent of any type of Roman or biblical or Bible laws or regulations, right? So he's telling you though, if you listen to him, at least what I'm getting from him, he ran into a nation of people who were still living in a natural way like his ancestors. That's why he mentioned the Greeks and the Romans, because he's finding out that, oh damn, these people still living like the old days, like the days of Homer and shit like that. So he running into people that's still living like that, and it's blowing his mind. He see that they're actually a farther ahead in their culture than even they are. And
well, actually, he did write and say that these people were not savages and heathens as others pertain them to be. He actually went against that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only going to be able to read so we can get to the parts I want to get to in this conversation tonight with y'all on a convo, because this shit right here was deep. We're gonna have to come back around to this one right here. And that's why I only gonna show his name. I'm giving the plug for anybody who didn't know who he was and how he was over here and how he documented from the time
What's his name
of Columbus.
Again? What's his name, man?
Bartholomew. Go back up, God, real quick.
Bartholomew de la Casse.
Okay.
I want to make sure y'all see it one more time.
All right, I got it.
This whole thing. You see his name at the top?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some reading. I'm gonna do some reading on him.
That's his name right now.
All right, Bartholomew de la Casse. I got him. He said he was a friar of the Catholic Church.
Dominican order.
Okay.
The Dominican order. He's a Dominican friar. He's all throughout that same area, dealing with the councils of the Indies. He's dealing with and also the indigenous people that got nations. He's dealing with these priesthoods. Listen, I read the whole thing. I can't give it to you. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I ain't gonna act like, you know what I mean? But either way, it got my mind kind of blown when you get the details that he laid out. And also how Columbus, he telling y'all, by the way, when you get into his shit, he's saying that people set up Columbus, you heard me? And he got their names. He naming their names, saying these people right here done backhanded this man Columbus, you heard me? How he was dealing with the Indies and how he was dealing with the Tainos and Hispaniola and how they were, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I ain't gonna go into that tonight either. Slide that back, guys.
He got arrested. Didn't he die in jail? Columbus? Did he die in jail?
Yeah, he got set up. They say later on, right, by the same people that homeboy naming. By the way, funny enough, but I ain't gonna get into that tonight either. I'm gonna let y'all read it for yourselves. You heard? Matter of fact, guys, for Black History Month, get in this link right here and put it in the chat for everybody that's listening. And they can go back and read it for themselves. Read the whole thing.
We had a history before 1619 bullshit.
Oh yeah, way before that.
Yeah.
Are you serious? We laughing at them people talking about 1619
Yeah.
and don't know who King James really was and what that man wrote and his introduction of that King James Bible that they don't know about.
Yeah,
But I ain't gonna go into that tonight either.
And them 20 and odd Negroes was from the Caribbean. They ain't even come from West Africa.
It surely didn't. So we don't get caught up in that narrative either.
Yeah.
And I don't got a problem with the West African folk that we call the Songhai Empire.
That's just not where them Negroes came from.
I could put a name on them. I could put a name on them. But those who did come out of the West Africa that came into the Americas, the name is going to be tied as a Songhai. I'd rather put a name in the time frame tied to the empire and what's going on with their politics at the time. Then, Paul, that's you lied.
Or some of them, and some of them Africans that came on their own, they had.
Yeah, somebody called my phone. I just cut it off.
Yeah, like, I know your mic live. I'm letting you know when we hear you.
You might. It's like some West Africans I've seen that was coming over. They was coming over on their own or had to pay off a debt, and they had Portuguese last names and stuff.
Oh, matter of fact, we getting ready to get into that part, and that's when I need to ask him to come on because we'll be doing the El Negro series, and I wanted y'all to hear it because you got the urban Indian. I'm gonna let you shout it out real quick. Matter of fact, go ahead and shout it out right now while we talking about it. Your brand and everything, real quick.
Man, I got me and my lady.
Pull them up
real quick, guys. We got an urban Indian brand. It's the urbanindian.org. We got a website, and basically, man, we're just showing that these people that they're calling Indians and these people they're calling Black, we didn't go anywhere. They just got reclassified. We never died, and we ended up in these urban areas for the most part, and got relabeled and reclassified. So we just try to make the clothes, represent that these people never died. You just paper genocide me, but the reality is physically I still exist. I just don't exist on paper or historically. You hide me in history, but brothers like Mackney, that we're gonna bring it out. But this is one of our hoodies, and it got 1937 on the back. It's the Indian Housing Act when they started building all these housing projects around America, and they say this is where they put the Indians for housing and cheap labor and cheap housing. But we look in these projects, we don't see no Native Americans, these quote unquote natives. We see Khalil and Muhammad and Buhayed. So we got to know where are the Indians then, because they built these places for Indians, but they got us in them. But they tell us we're not the Indians, we're not the Aboriginals. But okay. But anyway, that's what the clothes is about. I started in North Philly, walking around my camera, taking shots of the hood, talking about our history, and then I met my wife and we created the clothing line from that. You know what I mean? So it's the Urban Indian.
Hey, shout out to your wife, man.
Oh yeah. So
Phoenix,
man, Phoenix Rising. Yeah, she listening right now, man.
What up, Phoenix? What up to you? Peace to you. Yeah. Shout out to the matriarch.
She the one that designs all the clothes. She designed all the clothes and everything. I'm just the one with the big mouth. I
ain't mad at that. Hey man, listen, but she pulled up on us too, though. That's how I got her respect, because she.
She definitely pulled
discussion, up, and then I'm gonna have her back actually if she'll have me. You know what I'm saying? But that's on y'all. That's why I came to you first. Yeah, as I know you. I respect, like I got my wife, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna come to your wife first. I'm gonna come to you first and be like, dog, I want to have a conversation with your wife. Can I do that?
Man, I appreciate it, man. We in this together, man. You're like one of the only people on YouTube we respect. Like you guys on the panel, man. I like listening to y'all because it makes sense. You're talking about real history. You're not Pan-Aboriginal. You're not Pan-African. We just in the middle. We just talking, hey, man, there were so-called Black people in America, and we're the grandchildren of those people. That's all we're saying. We're not saying we're not mixed. We're not saying there's no admixtures. We're just saying that I always been here. Simple.
Period. I mean, Paul, what you think about that before we move on? Slide to the next show. And then 90, I got something for you that I want you to answer. And that's why I brought you on. I want y'all to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
You know me, I already go against the motherfucking General Board of Education anyway that's done by David Rockefeller. So fuck them. I tell you who it is and what it is and how it is.
Last week. Yeah, we were talking about the Rockefellers in them last week. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the ones that's responsible.
Messing them up. I'm thinking about
they're the ones that's responsible for all the academia and all the curriculum that's going on in the Christian school system. That's what I call it, the Christian school system. And that's also dealing with under the Roman Catholics. Give us your children from the age of 5 to the age of 18 to be indoctrinated through the 12-step program.
I'm gonna let y'all know one more time though. I always try to show my sources when I show things. So I always do this like this. So when y'all think I'm capping, I'm not capping. You know what I'm saying? I show that other joint. So this right here, this is real quick. You know what I'm saying? This book 1 of 3 and then they got Roman chapters in it. You know what I'm saying? It's tied to this man right here. And this person who did a report on it, you know what I'm saying, out of Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, brotherly love. You know what I'm saying? It's his authored by, and he let you know he's translating what it is. Dealing with, it's authored by the same person we just brought up, Bartholomew de la Casa.
Bartholomew. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So make sure y'all know there's people doing reports on this man and what this man has actually historically wrote out because of his position and what he was dealing with of the crown and the Indians on both sides. This man's not really talked about in our history, you know what I'm saying? To us. So I gotta give him a shout out.
It's a lot of hidden history in Philadelphia. The Boule was one of the big Boule chapters is there. They actually probably started there, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
Oh, Sigma Pi. You talking about Sigma Pi Phi?
Yeah, man. They got their hands in Philly politics for a while, man.
Yeah. W.D. Du Bois is also a part of my man. Martin Luther King and many others was a part of them.
And since you brought him up, I got some shit on Du Bois, boy. I got some shit on Du Bois. You heard me, boy. I got some shit on Du Bois. You heard me, boy. That Huguenot surname. That's a Huguenot surname. I'm gonna put it out there like that. That's all I'm saying.
It is. It's a French.
Yeah, because you have the Huguenots, you have the House of Orleans and the House of Bourbon. You know, you have all those houses. You know what I'm saying? You know, dealing with the Huguenots, the House of Bourbon, the House of Orleans, the House of Dauphine. You know what I'm saying? That's all the royal families that's over there. That's just a few. You know, but I suggest everybody to debrief your children when they come home from school. Do like an hour a debrief and say what you learned in school. And I do that to my son all the time. He like, damn, Dad, damn. Like, yeah, damn my ass. You gonna learn this shit.
You gotta debrief them, man.
You gotta debrief them.
Now I want to do this though, and I'm glad y'all joined me for the conversation. I want, and if anything that I showed any of y'all, you know what I mean, urban Indian representing, you know what I mean, the brand and everything, travel and everything you've been through and what you walked down, what you've been doing, and Pa, you know what I mean, me and you've been knowing each other, you know, we argue, we got love for each other. You know what it is. That's why I always come. I like it because you ain't no yes person, and I'm not no yes person, and that's what I like about our conversation actually the most. I respect you for the fact that me and you are not going to sit around each other and just say yes to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just what it is. We're gonna keep it real. Like, nah, hold on, wait a second. You know what I mean? Wait a second, Pa. What's going on with that? But at the same time, I got respect for you. I ain't nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? It's just
you already know.
We know what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is.
It's always reciprocated. It's always reciprocated.
Hey, you know, you see me in real time drive out to Louisiana. You saw how you met me in real time. Feel me? In my wild 30s. In my wild 30s, I would say. I was wild doing that, by the way. I don't want to talk about how I got there.
And look, you want me to tell you what else how I know about how that colonial title didn't work? I'll tell you the reason why. Anytime you have a tunica who forefather was Marquise de Maison Rouge.
Go ahead, say
who
it
had this.
Say it one more time.
She was tunica. She was tunica by her mother's birth, and on her father's birth was Washita. And a tunica woman had a child for Marquise de Maison Rouge. Okay.
No, say that one more time. Say that one more time again. I'm sorry, my bad. Every time I had to fuck with you because
she was tunica. She was tunica.
Right.
She was tunica, and her father was Washita. But a tunica had a child for Marquise de Maison Rouge, who had the Spanish land grants.
That part. Now that would mean, and that would mean that you're talking about Verdiasi, right? Because that's what you talking about. That's how I met you out in Louisiana with the Turner family reunion / powwow, right? That's what it was at when I met you
right
then.
Right.
And I learned firsthand at that time frame when I went out there and they took us out to Poverty Point and all the stuff we did at that time. I always got to reference it because this is historical to me. To me, it's historical because it corrected a lot of things in my mind, going to the bird mounds and all that stuff too, but also the fact that this family can say that this is how their family is tied to the Spanish land grant. by the fact that they have French lineage of nobility, and they have indigenous ancestry as well to that territory.
French and Spanish. French and
Right,
Spanish.
and Spanish in their lineage. And if you see them today, you will say they would, like, we would call them Negroes, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? And they got ties to this. I seen it with my own eyes. I was corrected in a lot of my things in my mind when I went out to you know what I'm saying, Monroe County. You feel me? Right, Pa? I ain't gonna lie. Pa, you met me at that time. You older than me, you know, so we both old, but I give you that. You know what I mean? You was in there. You was there already. You lived there. So when I went there and I met the family, because how I got invited to be able to even be there to witness that at that time, it made me think different. It made me more upright. I mean, understanding already that this ain't no pure situation at all. But indigenously, these are melanated people that were moving and marrying and mixing and doing their thing and making things happen.
Slaves. And they wasn't on slave plantations.
And they weren't slaves, dog. Exactly.
That's the thing.
That's
what
they weren't slaves. You know what I mean? Mason Rouge is not raping a woman type shit. Like how they tell the story.
No, he didn't rape at all. That was a love thing.
That was a
love thing.
With a nobility of the French. He fell in love. And that's how the story is being told. I was there.
You know what movie showed you that shit? But Disney downplayed it. You know what movie that was, right?
Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, Princess and the Frog.
It had Baron Samedi in it. You heard me?
Yeah.
Yep. She was the indigenous girl. He was the European.
Right. I did a breakdown of that when it came out early 2000s.
Okay, now wait. Let me stop before we go forward. I heard Disney recently. I had a brother actually saying this shit on. We shared it. He said that Disney is the most powerful media on the planet right now. If you go do the research on what Disney owns in the media situation, Disney, they say hands down, is the shit right now. You heard me? I'm letting y'all know. Put it out there.
No, and look, in Disney, they got it. You haven't noticed now that we're talking about mound builders, we're talking about melanated Europeans, we're talking about our indigenous roots here. All of a sudden now they came out with a movie called The Killer of the Moonflower Moon. Now is a Native American hero, and then they gave the Academy Award to the Native American girl from the movie with DiCaprio and all this. See, they trying to block off what's happening, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen regardless.
It's too late. I got some shit. I got some shit coming. Just when it's coming, you know what I do? I make sure I'm gonna line up my sources like I did tonight. I'm gonna make sure everything line up because I don't want nobody calling me out. You're gonna call out the system too. You're gonna hit me, you're gonna hit them too. That's why I do the sources like this. So you can't talk shit. Say, Mac, where you got it from? I showed you where I got it from. Bitch. We're walking down the timeline. We're gonna do it like this. Now, 9 Ether. Now you ready? I wanna ask you some questions. And then Paul, I want you and Traveling Bill to tap in on this part before we leave tonight. Dealing with I think we covered the other two topics that were on the fly. So the last part is the Moorish race and the Negro part. And being that the Black Europeans, such as the French that married in and were nobility in certain things, when did the word Negro correlate, and how I think people might be mixing up the difference between a Negro that migrated into areas we call the Indies and the people who were melanated in those areas before those Negroes who were labeled Negroes from a technical standpoint, and what they were called prior to being called Negroes in the regions they were in, prior to them making their way into areas of the Indies around Aboriginal people who were melanated, but still now placing that on them. You see how I walk that down now? Anybody caught? Everybody with me? I gotta run it back. Let me know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Everybody with me? If I can run it back, I can run it back. I can do it.
Nah, I'm with you.
Yeah, we got it.
I'm with you.
Okay, making sure. Make sure I know I'm moving fast. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure everybody caught me now. You feel me? I was flighting just now. You heard me? I was flighting. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving fast. But at the same time now, 9, pull up the source, God. Because me and you covered this, and I want to hear y'all thoughts on this from the Aboriginal standpoint. You know what I mean? Shout out to all my Aboriginal people of the West Indies. You heard me? Appalachia, particularly for me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Muskogee and Massey. You know what I'm saying? Yap Seminole, Esther Lusty. Yeah, Maroons. Shout out to all my folk in that Southeast mound building civilization situation. You already know what it is. Southeast Central. Yeah. It says Mar though, because I ain't biased when it comes to me just, dealing with history and what melanated people did and what we researched, because I love history for that purpose. Mar. You see what I'm saying? This word Mar, we brought this up before, just like we showed the TO map before. And then to y'all tonight, I want to go there first and use this source as my basis of the conversation. And it's going to show that this word Mar, it goes back to a time frame of written in silent Yod and all that kind of good stuff. It says Babylon, by the way. It's saying Babylon. Now, Jewish Babylon, Aramaic. It let you know the language tied to the territory and everything. And showing also the Western Syriac is also saying Aramaic word. And see it say word Lord. Yes, what we say down here, Lauderdale. But we say the corresponding feminine form of Syriac, Marth, for lady. Shout out to my ladies out there. Marie, you hear me? Like Mary, you hear me? Now, we're going to slide down, though.
Or Morena. Or Morena in
yeah.
Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, Morena. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, we've showed this before now. Saint Mary is showing up, most revered, the title Moran or Moor. M-O-R. This the one O, by the way, is the title. It's Moran. Mar is given to the, and that word Catholic, we showed that before. The word Catholic, like Roman Catholic, is a title that's tied to the term Mar before the Catholic term became Catholic. You hear me? And even the more, so that means the Mar became a Catholic and he became the title of the Catholic, if you didn't know that. And it's just other primates in the title Moor is given in prelates such as metropolitan bishops, ecclesiastical, right? Like people that sit on councils and shit. You heard me? Mr. and Mrs.
It's a priesthood.
I want to make sure I want to make sure the title first before I get into the next part that's going to show up, right? The variant Moran, you know what I mean? And this is in Christianity. You know what I'm saying? It's going to say, this is Christianity now. Now, we know that Christianity don't come before what they call the Torah, the Old Testament, New Testament. For everybody that might not be got caught up on that history, understand, but Old Testament, right? And then New Testament. And it's going to say that this is the Christian time frame and when this word is being used in certain languages such as Syriac. I'm trying to move fast because I got timing now. I'm on time. 11:11. It says occasionally the term Moran or Moran has been used in various Eastern Christian patriarchs and Catholic. We went to that word, but it got the OI on the end of Catholic though. If you didn't know, it got the OI on it. You see that though? You see that though? All right now. Sierra Orthodox Patriarch in the top, and then you see that Jacobite. So people be thinking Jacobite. Me and Nine didn't cover this when we did the Babylonian series. We got Jacobite joint, right? Because I'm about to now. You see what I'm trying to get to? Because you've been through all this before, so I'm moving fast. Don't mind me. And it say though. Sometimes the Indian, see the word Indian came up. See how that line up? You got it all line up. Yeah, been listening the whole night. You see how that line up? Sometimes the Indian bearers of this title are called Moran Mar, using a hybrid style from both Syriac dialects that reflects somewhat the history of Syro-Malabar Christians. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about Rome. You see, we were talking about Rome earlier and how Rome goes into India. What the people that went into India, they got the word Mar tied to it. You know what I mean? From the time frame of Babylon, you know what I'm saying? And people that's going into these areas from the time frame of Rome, controlling these territories. See what I'm saying? And their new empire, Alexander the Great. See, I try to walk that around for y'all, but we're gonna keep sliding, guys. We got to move fast. We got to move fast now. Because we done showed all this stuff before. No. Go back to it though. Don't come from it. I need to show one part in this, and we're gonna keep it moving. I need to show one part in that. We're gonna keep it moving. So I get that 9 come in and just answer the questions based off of what he's already showed. Go to Judaism right there. That's all I want to show in Judaism. So on the timeline, before there was Christianity, in the languages Syriac, Aramaic, Hebrew, prior to even Arabic, but Arabic too, in those people's linguistic situations over there, it says Mishnah Hebrew to the date. This Aramaic word is pronounced Mar. So I like to say Mar like maroon because I'm a maroon, yeah. But we know where this origin comes from with linguistic wise. But it says it is used as a formal way of addressing or referring to a male person. See, it's in the Babylonian Aramaic time frame when the people got exiled. That's in your biblical standpoint of the kings, based off the last king who now got conquered by Egypt, and then they got conquered by Babylon. And then it talks about the exile. There were exilarch that 9th has been breaking down in the El Negro series. So you got to watch that series to know what we're about to lay out real quick, though. But I'm going to ask y'all. Mar also included honorific. So see the exile. See exile, right?
Yeah,
Exilarch.
honorific. How you say it?
Honorific of the
Title of the
exilarch.
exilarchs. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a title of an exilarch person within a foreign jurisdiction of their peoples, but they're in a position to still lead their peoples. The term Mar and Maran, but it also showed you in the beginning, it's just addressing or referring to a male person that's been exiled from their land. Yeah, coming out of Judea, Babylon, Egypt, and all them areas. Either way, Mr. and Mrs. You see it right there? Mr. down there, Mr., Mrs. I'll be talking to y'all. Mr. and Mrs. Make sure y'all know. Mr. and Mrs. 9. Take off real quick before I pull the next source up. When we did the El Negro series, how far back did you get with the first person of the Sephardic Jew Aramaic language speaking diaspora using the same term right here? And now the word, them being going from this term being used for them to the word Negro being applied to them as it says here, addressing or referring to a male person. Like how today we call each other Negroes when we describe a male person. Like how we would say negress in Latin for a female woman of a certain complexion. You heard me? What time frame do you think this started at? Dealing with the transference of this?
The earliest reference to it is 1850. And it's
what, 1850 what?
AD, 1850 AD. You have
AD? 850 AD, you mean?
Excuse me, yeah, 850. I'm bugging.
I'm like, you scared me, boy. You scared me, boy. What, you got a timeline? Don't do that to me. Go ahead.
In 850 AD, in the area we call Lusitania, which is later be Spain, Portugal. In that area in 850, there's an individual, Fernand El Negro Nunez. He is the first count of Castile. Just like they said, the Council of Castile, that council and the Castilian monarchy and the courts, because his father, Fernand El Negro's father, is named Rosuro Nunez. He's one of two legendary judges of the 800s in that Lusitania area. So if you can grab that in the private chat, just so that they can get it in the real chat, I put it in the private chat of his bloodline, Fernand. So that's for anyone that's in here. But if y'all can take it out of there and drop it basically into the live chat, that would be good for the people. So it's 850 Fernand El Negro Nunez, whose other name is Ferdinand Gonzalez. See, in certain courts at this time, you got to understand everything is broken up. There is no Spain, there is no Portugal in 850. There is, let's call Castile, Leon, Aragon. These are just different areas of municipalities that are all autonomous, and they're coming out of the Lusitanian era of, let's say, the early ADs. So we got 850 is the earliest known reference. So the first two people that's really given that title, they're giving it in honor, that El Negro title, and that would be Fernand El Negro, and then 200 years later it would be Yaya El Negro. But let me show you one thing. I want to share my screen. Let me show you.
And then you had Pedro El Negro.
Yes, and Pedro, he's definitely a little later, but he's popping off hard to the point in Northern Europe. What you call that? France, Spain.
Yeah.
And he's going crazy.
Wait, you want to share your screen?
This was before the Islamic invasion.
That's a great question. Fernand El Negro Nunez, he fights Muhammad's 8th great grandson.
Wow.
So the dude I'm speaking about is fighting the Emirs of Cordoba. So if you Google Emirs of Cordoba, those are all Muhammad's peoples. They're in direct descendants. So he's in what we call Cordoba's, let's call it central Spain, where where Fernand El Negro is. He's in northern Spain, right above Cordoba, but he's in rock mines, which we did in the last episode. We showed a little quick incident where he's fighting the Emirs of Cordoba, and his whole blood is fighting the Emirs of Cordoba. So you might as well say That's Negro on Negro wars right there.
Yeah. And his bloodline was also dealing with Carthaginians too, because there was Carthaginians mixed in there too with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So let me show y'all something. You can see my screen.
Yeah, we see it now. Yeah, we see it now.
It's popping up. Oh, here we go.
Just to touch on the 3 Indias and to show something in genealogy. This is in the year 1200. So this is the priest king or the Prestigian Maroonville Panya. Prestigian, Jewish Christian emperor of the 3 Indies. So they call him a Jewish Christian emperor of 3 Indies. And now we know those term Indies is outside their jurisdiction. But the greatest thing is he's the husband of who? A Babylonian woman who's the daughter of an exarch who we just speaking about. So if you look up to the right and you go up here, Shemal Babylon Exarch, he would be the Mar of the exarchs at this time. But it gets a little deeper. So you have India. Now he's really in India, the India we know as Hindustan. He's the king of Hindustan, and he actually invades Sri Lanka and takes over that land too. So
Sri Lanka, yeah,
Sri Lanka. So he takes over that too in 1214 or something. Excuse me, 1246. But he's the king, but he's marrying a Babylonian woman, and they're having a Babylonian child, a princess. All right, so we're gonna go to the princess just to show something. I'm showing this because we're gonna look at these women. Now, this is her daughter. We're gonna go 2 daughters down, and I want to hit this one person, Tamar Bat Ibn Yahya. So I went to 3 daughters. So that's 3 generations from the Prestigian of the Indians. And now I got a Tamar Bat Ibn Yahya, which comes from the El Negro Yahya family. And you see this individual right here, which I'm going to hit because I'm going to show something real quick in less than 5 minutes. Getaya Sholem Ibn Yahya Hazakin. Y'all remember?
And you know Ben meaning son of.
Son of Yahya Hazakin. Definitely. So now, when you're looking at him and you hit he's the son of who? We're going to go back up instead of going down through the daughters. We're going through the fathers because you want to see who Tamar married. So she marrying into the Yosef ibn Yahya line where we're going to get Don Yahya, and one last Yahya will be El Negro Yahya. Here we go. Boom. So this is Don. Let me make it big so people can see.
Yeah, make it so that Negro.
So this is Don Yahya El Negro, and he's from the House of Mendez. They have it right there. This is the famous one that started the Order of Santiago. His grandfather was a minister of Templar lands and a Knights Templar. So you have the Knights Templar grandfather telling his grandson, yo, your pops just died in a great war. We're going to set you up as the Order of Santiago, the Order of St. James, so that we could set you up. But I showed you how the Prestigian of the Indias, third granddaughter, which would be second great granddaughter, marries into this Yahya line. And I'm going to jump to one last source. I think I got to unsave it. Do I got to unsave it or I got to click another one?
And these don't look like them Jews walking around in Brooklyn and Philadelphia.
Not by a long shot.
Yeah, they are Sephardic Jews. They're not
melanated Negro, right? The word Negro is being applied. You know what I liked about Clubhouse? Yeah, he done jumped off.
And you know what's so funny with that name Menendez? Why you had a Menendez that who actually was a translator down there in Florida, who actually was a Mandi. He was Mandinka. His name was Menendez.
You know what I noticed? That when you just brought up the thing you just showed about Aramaic and Arabic and all this stuff. And I lived over there for, just about a decade, and I learned to speak Arabic and stuff. But when you break down Rome and you look at Samaria, then you talk about Aramaic and all these places, and cuneiform, which is probably older than all those languages, right? So you start to realize that there's a blood connection. You talk about Moors and stuff like that. The first thing that came to my mind, you mentioned Aramaic and all those places, is Phoenicia, right? So
Phonetic.
Yeah, so it's like, well, Rome and bloodline, all these different people, we're naming them, but it seems to be all originating from a certain bloodline, and it seems to keep going back to Sumeria and Babylon and Acadia, and all of that going on over there. So that's why, this whole, people get into the whole Anunnaki thing. They don't know that these are bloodlines. They don't know that this is all blood and history and stuff. So
folklore, mythology tied to those bloodlines.
Exactly.
And their rulers and their kings, and their kings and their things at that time that later on became gods to other cultures based off the historical mythologies of those civilizations of that ancient time.
We've been around a long time, man.
Factual.
Yeah, we've been melanated a long time.
Yeah. Mac, tell Kofi to let me back in the share screen because I just want to show one last joint. They kicked me out. They said, "Get out of here, man. Why you trying to?"
But now, Ether, you heard what I said about how you had a Mandinka by the name of Menendez that actually fought in the Seminole War.
He fell out.
No, I didn't hear that part.
Oh yeah. That name Menendez. Yeah, that name Menendez. They keep it in the family.
Definitely. That's what they definitely was doing. So right here, my list on screen, I'm going to show real quick. Where my arrow is, you got Yahya Hanasi El Negro. We just had him. And we were speaking of Gedaliah. Gedaliah is the one that the Hindustan Prester John Priest King, whose third great granddaughter married to. But this list, if you look at it, it goes from Yahya to Yosef to Shalom Hazakin to Gedaliah. This list all the way up, this is going to Windsor. Here go the hijack in the House of Windsor. So anyone that is watching it on a replay, y'all can screenshot it. The hijack comes up here after Anna. When you see this
Anna Marie, yeah.
Yes. After Anna Marie, King James, they go into from Habsburg to Gotham Saxa, which would be the
Gotham Saxa. I see it.
Yeah, you see it up here, Hanover.
I see the crossover.
Tito Paz said earlier. Speaking of the Georges, so you got the Georges at the top, but these last 5 to 6 lines, those are the hijacks. But from before Anne, right here with Philip Ludwig of Newburgh, that line goes straight to Yahya El Negro, the 1200s. So I'm gonna just leave that up there. And these are the Exarchs. One last thing, because you spoke to them. This goes back to who? The Marzutras of the year 500.
It's right there. I see it. Rob.
500
called Rob, Prince of Judah, son of the 30th Exarch. Mar.
Zutra.
See that word Mar? Now look now, I'm trying to tell y'all now. Because we got it that detail. On our side, understanding this Negro term. So when anybody that wants smoke about the Negro term or the Moorish race being Exarch groups of people from out of Babylon that in the 12th century, this Mar Zutra line showing how they Negro y'all before y'all even knew what Portugal was. You heard me? You know what I'm saying? Lusitania. They're using this term for a group of people underneath Alfonso the First. You heard me?
Facts. And you
this
got the Exarch
historicals on the show.
This is going all the way back, and
I want to smoke for anybody that wants something on this.
All the historical people in time, and then it goes back to whatever you want to call the Talmudic scholars of the time, the Amoriums of the time. So I just wanted to show that. I'm going to drop this link.
Yeah, because that's when the Talmud was written in Castile, which became known as Spain.
Right,
This
before it
is
was
why we
called
want,
Spain, it
and
was
this is why we
Castile,
wanted to show Ferdinand
Lusitania,
El
Lusitania.
Negro Nunez, because he sets up Castile, and the Castilian monarchs come through him and his bloodline. In our last show, we showed how his granddaughter is setting up most of the things that's going on over there. And like you said, then it turns into Spain and Portugal. And Yaya El Negro, his family is given the whole Portugal. So this dude up here that we sitting in the middle of this, Ha Nasi, Yaya El
El
Negro,
Negro,
Lord Aldos
yeah.
of the Negros, Portugal, who died in battle in 1222. The 1222, I brought this up because the dude I showed y'all from Hindustan, Prester John, he was born in 1202. So
Uh-oh.
if you say in this Prester John, he's born in 1202. He later on marries to the third on this list, Gedaliah. Excuse me. His bloodline marries into Gedaliah up here. And we know that individual from Hindustan, Marco Polo, wrote very extensively about that Prester John in Hindustan called Panyan. So Marco Polo is also known for what? Coming to America. So you have what? Yaya El Negro family, who's the protector of St. James Way, the way of St. James, who people say is from Jerusalem, Baghdad, Iraq, Babylon to Portugal, which is really from that side of the world to this side of the world. So I only say that because people like to say America is Egypt, America is Jewish. No, these people came multiple times in multiple waves and married in from the Kalalus of the 750s to this time frame of Marco Polo. Because in this time frame, you got who? You got this Prester John, you got Genghis Khan, you got Marco Polo, and you got Leif Erikson. All these people have different codes on, oh, the Inuit came from Genghis Khan coming over here. Leif Erikson is the same time. It's the 1200s. So you have a wave of people coming to America in the 1200s that is coded in history. But the Yaya El Negro family has been finding their way here in 4 different waves.
And you know what? And you know what? Not to cut your wisdom, but that's funny how everything dealing with the Tamil and also the Kabbalah, because all that came from out of Babylon going into Castile, which became known as Spain.
Right, first century. All that shit goes into that area they call Spain, from those who got exiled out of Babylon, melanated folk that later became called Negroes in that region. In that region, not Africa. Africa's not called Negro first.
No.
That's what people got to get understanding from. That what we're showing people, that out of the people called the Mar, who are the Moorish race when they get out to Europe, we're about to show that right now because of their mixtures with other Gentile nations. And now they use this term Moorish. That's the European term. The word Mar, though, is older than the term Moorish. And Mar is going back to Babylon and the exile understanding of a melanated group of people tied to a lineage. And then
you know what?
Them. That's
you know
what?
What?
Are mixing up. They're not getting.
And you know what? And you know what? You can find that in 2 Kings.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's in the book of 2 Kings.
It's there. It's telling you
that. You know what's interesting though? That they keep telling the same stories of their history, because the cuneiform texts or tablets, the Sumerian tablets, are actually older than the biblical stories. So you can see that the same bloodline is just carrying their same history and different modes of transportation. And then we get into it and start following it, and we turn and we end up worshiping foreign stuff. But really,
that happened. Well, that happened with Ezra, because Ezra was the scribe at that time. He had rewrote everything from the Babylonian account. So that it was Ezra. That's right.
Yeah.
Just look, I don't like the cap. Paul, you see how I move? Paul, you see how I'm moving, right? See how I ain't playing no games. See what I'm saying? I ain't playing no games, Paul, with these folk out here. You know what I'm saying? That's the Lucy on my side. It's cool. I got my.
You already know we coming with the red stick, baby.
Yeah, the red stick action. Yacht Seminole. You hear me? Yeah, Maroonville.
Hey, but I got a question for anybody over here, man. Before I jump off, I got this question that always kind of nudged me. We know something happened somewhere where kind of the royal or the pictures of what the royals of Europe look like are more whitewashed today, just like the so-called Indians in America, us have been whitewashed, you know, with the Native Americans, the $5 Indians. But what's the opinion about when did this happen? How did it happen? Did the indigenous Aboriginals of Europe, the royals, did they give up power and go in the background and hide? Or did they lose power in some cases? It was a mixture of both.
I'm going to say a mixture. Let me say this one part. It's a mixture of both, but you get to see some of the last black nobility in many of the books that Manuel the First commissioned in the 1500s, because I run around on most of my social media with a picture of this dude, the Black Dog of Brittany. His name is Bertrand Gislin, which was the count of whatever. But in the 1500s, them shit start getting. So in the last couple of books of armories, you get to see some people of melanation in the 1500s. After that, it becomes scarce.
Nah, I've been waiting. I gotta get off. Because we've been talking about this shit for the last couple of weeks, how it synchronizes into this part that you just showed, dealing with the House of Windsor. You know what I'm saying? And we've been showing that the Germanic, the Hanovers,
dealing with the Queen.
Yep.
You see it? You got it right there. King George III of Britain of America. And it's showing the transference when Traveling Bear asked the question, you had it on the screen. And in my mind, I'm like, I want to go. Wait a second. Well, here we go. Boom. Well, from the Stuart, which is going back to King James. We're going to show you something. We're going to show you something tonight before we slide. You know what I'm talking about?
His mother, Queen Mary Scott.
You see how this works now? You see how this?
Kobe, you see how this works? His father was what? His father was King Henry VIII or King Henry VII?
Right. Now we're going down genealogy of nobility, right?
And one more thing, Mac. Look at the first paragraph. Read the first line.
Wait. It says, much is made of the fact of the royal descent from the line of David through the Irish lines from T or Tamar of Tefi or Telphi, daughter of Zedekiah, married to an Irish prince, and their transmission into Scotland and England. However, in addition to those lines and the one through Odin, there is a third lineage into British royal family.
Did they say Odin? Did somebody say Odin?
Yeah.
Yes, Odin. Odin.
You see it though?
Wait.
Yes, Odin.
No, we can't pause.
Wait 1 second. Let him finish.
Yes, Odin.
We gotta keep it moving. This should say
and bring it a Marvel out about Odin, huh? Was it Odin the god? But anyway, hey.
Yeah, that part, British royal family that is also directly and demonstratively Davidic and came into UK from the Hanover line. Hanover. Hanover.
I just wanted to say that because remember the fact that we went into the Babylon to America, the Tamar Tepes, and I'm going into Ireland, and now we're showing you a different line going in because that's not this line particularly. This is the David line, but they both come from that joint. But
they kind of go back in line. They start to connect when they go back that far. You know what I'm saying?
And I never seen that on the top, even though I knew we touched on it. That's why I was like, read that little part, because we touched on the Tamar Tepes after the first exile. This is the first exile, and they run and they married into the Irish monarchs at the time, and they set up that searching Irish Scottish.
Hanover, the game's over.
They just let you know Odin. They just let you know Odin was a real person and a real bloodline. They just slid that in there on
Yeah. And then you know the Scots. And then you know the Scots come from Skoda, who was an Egyptian.
Listen, Tamar.
Tamar. They all the Tamar. This is why you get it in three different ways. Everyone that's called the Tamar has a Scotian nickname. And they come in three different waves. They came in the 600 BC in the Exilarchs. They came in the 1200s around David, and they came in the 1700s around Moses.
All right, hold on.
So they came in three waves.
Let me stop. Let me want to do this tonight because we can be here for a minute when we start.
I know. Hey, but the one last thing though. One last thing to back up everything y'all just said. I talked to a Mormon. I think I said this to you before. It's a Mormon guy. We had a nice conversation on a Zoom call. And they believe in their books that the Hebrews came over in like 600 BC, 660, 600. I don't know, one of the sixes, right?
They came right before the Babylonian captivity, and that brings them back, and that's dealing with inside of the Book of Mormon, dealing with the Book of Moroni and the Book of Nephi.
Came here and mixed in with the indigenous people.
Let me say one thing. You see that name on the top, Zedekiah? His son, Mulek, became the Amalekites in the Book of Mormons.
Right.
So Zedekiah had 8 children. 2 of them are the girls that you see on the top, T, Tamar, Tefi, and one of them was Mulek. Now the other kids got killed, but Mulek made it to America, and he becomes the Amalekites in the Book of Mormons through that exile of Zedekiah.
Man, that's cool.
And we touched on that in the last Babylon.
We've been walking this down, though.
And they landed.
We've been walking this shit down.
And they landed in South America. We've been walking
this shit down. Niggas be thinking we've been slipping, but we've been walking this shit down. Shout out to 9 Ether. We've been walking that El Negro. When we got onto El Negro and the Yaya, I've been Aish.
No, it's a great series, man.
It was opening up so much stuff.
And it
that we can't
so
even
fit
it in.
We can't even fit all this stuff in that
but
we,
you see how
we
you
got on that information. It's ridiculous.
The name Zedekiah, his kids are 5 of them are take me down. 5 of them are killed.
Take them down. We're gonna pull up the next joint to get out.
Well, some of them are killed by Nebuchadnezzar, and others is killed by who? Nebuchadnezzar kills a couple of them, and then someone else. Who's Neko too.
Neko
too. He kills some of them, and Nebuchadnezzar kills for some of them. So 5 of his 8 kids get killed. 3 escape. 2 is women. 2 go to Ireland, and 1 comes to America, like Cheeto Pa says, and becomes the Amalekites. And even when you go into the Book of Mormon, just hit up Amalekites, and you'll see that they say this is the child of Zedekiah.
Right. And all that ties back to the second Book of Kings, because that's what he was speaking about when the Babylonians had came in and took them and everything. And then that's when Brother Kyle said that's when they actually start building the temple and everything and stuff, doing the reconstruction of the Hebrew history.
So this is when
and that's when you start seeing the white boys, and that's when you start seeing the white boys coming in saying that they was Jews, and it wasn't.
Okay, now hold on, wait, stop. Charlie Bear, real quick before I pull up.
No, I'm done. I was just saying, so we're basically talking about establishing when the so-called Hebrew mixture came into the Americas.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. That's why I said 3 waves. It's 3 waves.
It's prior to 1492.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Way prior.
It's prior to what people think of the New World in the West Indies, of people who are in the areas of what we call the West Indies that are not First Nation people, by the way, but they're already migrating and taking place amongst Aboriginal people prior to Columbus, 1492, Sebastian Munster, Walsenmuller, Amerigo Vespucci, and all the people we didn't mention with maps and shit. And
so basically the world, people been moving around the world, trading with each other, living the same as we do now. They just making it seem like it was a Stone Age, but it wasn't.
That part.
Facts.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. Pull up a source real quick, and I got 2 sources. I'm gonna go back to back real quick. This is from Scotland. Shout out to my, Scottish folk out there. You know what I'm saying? That came over here. You know what I'm saying? Melanated folk, the Jacobites and all them, tied to this Moorish race.
Yeah.
Tied to this term dark.
Yeah.
Tied to this term swarthy that Benjamin Franklin was talking about in 1754.
He sure did.
Pa, am I wrong about that, Pa?
No, you're right. When he said that America is a Swarthy or Negro continent.
All right. He named a lot of places out of Europe, right? There were Swarthy people, right?
He named all of Europe
in the 16th, 17th century.
Yeah.
Before the American Revolution, 1775. There's melanated, swarthy, dark, Moor, Blackamoor, Negro. You see that word Negro tied to that? I don't know if anybody see it. It's right there. You see it, right? Look, 1509. That's around time of Waldenmuller doing a new map, by the way. 1529, right? And 1530. You see what I'm saying? 1559. That's what Sebastian Munster's time frame of maps and chasing your dragon's tail and shit.
That's why in the book of J.A. Rogers, where he said about the 100 amazing facts about the Negro, he said that in the 1500s, the Negroes was known as Moors.
That's what he told you. So look, Pa, before the Negro became called an African, the word prior to the term Negro was the word Moor. Am I right? Over there on that side.
Yeah.
On that side.
Yeah.
Now, the Aboriginal people on this side, who came in contact with people who originally in that time frame were really being called Moors, who are not in the Negro position, mean disenfranchised. You see where I'm going? You see how I went at? They're not disenfranchised. They're not in a subject position to another melanated group, technically, right? To another melanated group who has now comfort that group and said, now you're subject to us. You know what I mean? And you're going to be our Negroes. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you see where I'm going with this? Probably?
Yeah, they called us the Negroes of the Americas.
That part. Because they were in a more position, right? Based off their status with the Roman and the different situations and what they went through already. They were not, and some of them, obviously, we just showed Portugal, right?
It's a caste system.
Castile.
Yeah, there was the one that instituted the caste system, the Roman society, because they did it in India by calling the Davidians the untouchables and the undesirables.
All right. Rome, man, people stop playing games of this country stuff and really walk down what Rome did. You heard me? From Babylon to America.
Yep.
Because Rome is tied to Babylon to America. Literally, if you go research it, they touch their origin to them coming into becoming a dynasty, becoming an empire. They're falling on both sides and all that stuff. They got a deep story. When you look at how later on you see people who are called popes of the Roman Catholic Church making edicts in the place we call today Americas, West Indies, since y'all like to be called Indies, right? Aboriginal folk. They don't like to be called Aboriginal folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't call it Rome no more. They call it democracies now.
Yeah. But see, at the end of the day, this term, I got one more thing for you now. King James. Lee Cummins hit me while I was actually on the show live. Shout out to Lee Cummins. You know what I'm saying? We got some things coming. I know that rhyme, but
shout out to Lee Cummins, the Negro Question Series.
Oh, man, that was
that King James article. He put me onto this source, and from the time he put me onto this source, because I don't lie when I don't know something, and somebody put me on something humbly, I give a shout out. It's like, oh, I didn't know that shit. Let me go down this damn rabbit hole. You feel me? Wait a minute.
I like to address Hardline. I like to address Hardline on boss right quick. Joseph Smith, he actually found the gold tablets in the mound up there in the New York area amongst the Micmac. And the Micmac, they did have a writing system, and those that know, they say that it looked like hieroglyphics closely to the Egyptian writing. So yeah, that's what that was pertaining to.
Facts.
Now, this whole, a lot of people don't know. Again, turn. We just did Black Zion a couple of weeks ago, just like we just did the Scramble for Africa last week, and just Black History Month. And Rome's tied to all this shit. But at the same time, and the crowns that are later independently moving within their own treaties and certain things. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get to that word Indian for y'all tonight within this introduction. There it is. Now,
but Mac, not to cut your wisdom, but you know what two churches in the whole world that have a lot of information on indigenous people?
Name them.
It's the Roman Catholic Church and the Mormons.
Yep.
Ooh, there you give them two.
Definitely.
And a matter of fact, I actually have an article where the Church of Latter-day Saints said that Verdiasi was their empress.
Well, interesting. I want to go into that tonight, Paul. Why you do that?
We can go on that the next time.
We only got a few time now.
Don't start
This is a good show. We're gonna stop the show and we're gonna break and go into that. We're gonna be here. Like I said, there's a lot of things why we gotta. By the way, too, we bring in Aboriginal Wall Street to Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the party. That's a decision we make. We're gonna do Aboriginal Wall Street on Twitter live coming this campaign year. There's a campaign year, so we're going Aboriginal Wall Street on Twitter live with the folk, direct with the people. You feel me? We're gonna tap in. But when it comes down to this, though, it's at the same time. I'm gonna start right where you see the first thing where it says orange. You see the orange color, right? Right above it, it says the doctrine of Saint John, saith he, did not in such sort as philosophers did vanish away, but the Syrians, Egyptians, Indians, Persians, Ethiopians, and infant other nations, being barbarous people, translated it into their mother tongue, and have learned to be, and for learning, his words be these. Every country that is under the sun is full of these words of the apostles and the prophets, and the Hebrew tongue. And he meaneth the scriptures in the Hebrew tongue is turned not only into the language of the Grecians, but also the Romans. See, the Romans, see. And then it says, and the Egyptians, and the Persians, and the Indians, and the Armenians, and the Scythians, and Saramontans, and briefly into the languages that any nation useth. I mean, before the 15th century, King James in his 1611 Bible introduction.
And that's the official introduction, right?
Yeah, that's the official introduction that he actually is putting his thoughts as the king of United Kingdom, England and Scotland as he unified at his age of what he put on top of the actual book that most people would say, oh, he didn't write the Bible. No, he didn't write the goddamn Bible. But as a Grand Master Mason, he understood this about the world and what he observed, just like Benjamin Franklin did.
Yeah, England, Scotland, and Ireland, the United Kingdom. Yeah.
And he was setting up an ecclesiastical jurisdiction outside of the Pope. That's what people don't understand. They think he was with them dudes.
Is it any more joints on that?
His whole situation was outside of that.
Right, check it out. So when people be arguing about some of this stuff, I be wanting to know if you got something on it. You know what I mean? Show us something, so since you invited to a
Yeah, but even though he was trying to create another ecclesiastical thing like his daddy did, King Henry VIII, but at the same time, oh boy, that motherfucking Holy Roman Empire of the West was no joke.
Yeah,
and
he couldn't win. He couldn't win.
He couldn't win because even recently, when Pope Ratzinger, who became known as Pope Benedict the Moor, right? When he said that he was going to Westminster Abbey in England, there was like, if you come here, we're gonna arrest you for child molestation and all that. He said, we're gonna see. He touched down to Westminster Abbey, and the Archbishop of Westminster Abbey kissed his motherfucking ring and bowed down. They had service in that motherfucker. I said, yep, they're still under the doggone jurisdiction of the Roman Catholic Church. Even dealing with Martin Luther, he never disowned Catholicism and everything. They, it's so much going on with that, bro. It ain't even funny, man.
And you remember when Queen Elizabeth asked Obama how he's treating her Indians?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Look, that's why I'm saying we're gonna go into this more because I don't know, today, I don't think people are reading the history of it. And when they jump on this understanding of their ancestry, I'm not saying they ain't got it, right? But when they understand the wave of the terms, see, the terms, the words, we understand what we talk about when we say it and how it was related to indigenous Aboriginal people. You know what I mean? That people that first, came over here and did what they did in their jurisdictions over here. But these people are taken out of context in a pan-Indianism. Now think when I'm saying that we just walk down. Pan-Indianism, that means East India, West India, or anywhere outside of Rome, is what you just want to say our people are, and that we now are the ones that's over all this shit prior to Rome coming into it. Why you saying Pan-Indianism? That's a Roman term.
Because the word Indian was applied to more people than just us.
Thank you. Yes, specifically, we are here. But Indian, Indos, it's a Roman situation. Prior
even
to them
Pan
saying they came here and putting that
even Pan.
A Pan, anything is some Roman shit. And I don't
right.
understand how people ain't catching that. I'm trying to understand how people ain't catching that. But they want to bang against the system they call Congress today, which is just a mirror of the ancient system we call Rome.
Right.
True.
And we out of here on that note, y'all. Before we slide, now I need to real quick. We're gonna go through everybody that pulled up on us tonight. Thank everybody in the chat. Next week Sunday, we're doing Aboriginal Wall Street, and we're gonna be talking about delineation and some other things too in the present day time. It's a campaign year. You feel me? You can pull up on us. You know what I mean? But now I need to. Anything you want to say before we get out of here tonight, man?
Nah, I just want to give a shout out to my man Super Blaze in the back with the music. Shout out to my man Kofi, that's always on point. Shout out to my brother from another mother, Traveling Bear.
Always love, always love.
And my big bro Cheetah probably gonna get you on that Pirates of the Caribbean. So shout out to you. And anytime you want me on this panel with these brothers, just let me know. Shout out Mac Ether.
Peace to y'all. Traveling Bear, man. Pull up on Travel real quick, man.
Man,
Travel,
I appreciate you, Mac Ethan, man. Man, nothing but love and respect for you, man. I love everything you post, man. I just be loving. I love the way you connecting the history together, man. It's enlightened me on some things because I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. So I always appreciate the information. Always Cheeto Pie, man, with that big smile, man. That smile is just contagious, man. And shout out to Nine Ether. That brother been shot, from the very beginning when I was going through my beginning stage of learning my history and falling into cults and understandings that was weird. That brother stuck with me, man, and gave me the information. When I found out what was going on, I broke loose and I had to go at niggas because they was doing some raw shit. So, and when I had to do that, man, that brother was there to always be there for me. I appreciate that from him. And always Mac and Cheeto Pie, man. I love y'all brothers, man. Anytime y'all want me to come on, just let me know, man. I'm always appreciative, man.
Same to you, man. Keep doing your thing, man. The urban Indian joint you got going on. I mean, I appreciate you for doing what you're doing, and we just want to make sure people understand the full context of the brand. You know what I mean? And today, what we call the Indies, in the West Indies, in the urban areas, and the tribes, and the clans, and the mixtures, and the peoples that are here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want to make sure.
Indian. I use it because that's what we're known by today. That's what we've been known, and that's what our people kind of went with a little bit. But that's not what we called ourselves. So, but that's what we're known as today. And I use it in place of being called Black and African American to represent who we are in the urban areas. That's it.
I respect that. And I got no pressure with that. Everybody got a right to self-delineate. We're going to be talking about that next week. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. No doubt. I appreciate you, man.
Paul, my last dude, appreciate you, cuz. I'm gonna see
you already know, family. Man, Nine Ether, I fucks with you. Traveling Bear, I fucks with you. Just Blaze, you're on the motherfucking 1 and 2s. Keep the motherfucking beat rolling, you heard me?
His music, man. He be pumping. He sound like the 90s house party, man.
Yeah, you already look. He's Super Blaze, but I call him Just Blaze too, cause he on fire. You heard me?
On fire,
and cousin Kofi, you know what you do, man. Look, bruh, and cousin Mac, man. Look, I don't know if y'all know, but we was on the mound out there in Property Point, and we had a doggone priest that came, right, and he did a little ceremony on the mound and everything, and ain't nothing happened. So I did the ceremony on the mound and activated that motherfucker. And cousin Kofi just had on some brand new motherfucking Jordans. There was the black ones, the white ones, and the red ones. I don't know the name of it, but it was that kind. And I activated the motherfucking mound, bruh. And Max said, Kofi, what happened, bruh? Kofi said, man, my soles of my new Jordans just came off walking on the mound. He had to walk down the mound barefooted.
Dang.
Barefoot, them shits were flip flops, bitch. That's why I had said something. I was like, Kofi, dog, your Jordans look like flip flops right now. Remember Kofi? I said, Kofi, I'm walking behind him. I'm like, Kofi, the Jordans, nigga, they look like flip flops.
Brand new Jordans.
Kofi looked down.
Dang.
I ain't gonna say they're brand new, but he don't wear them that often. I'm gonna say it like that. Kofi don't wear them shits like that. So the fact that he had them, it was a special occasion. You know what I'm saying? And that nigga, them shits turned. That's why I had to pause and be like, Kofi, your shit flip flops. That's the only thing I can say. Flip flops.
Jordan might make flip flops now. You know what I mean?
Goddamn, yeah, they did after the fact.
But see, but y'all didn't catch it though. Y'all ain't catch it. I activated
that thing.
The fucking mound.
Yeah,
I activated the mound.
It was the solstice.
Yeah, it was the solstice, and they was talking about, oh, y'all can't go on the mound. It's too hot. We say, man, fuck that shit. We went on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And shout out to Frederick Joe. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Washington.
Right, cousin Joe. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, but for real though, y'all have a good night, man. I appreciate y'all for Black History Month.
You,
they call it. You know, everybody that pulled up for us. You know what I'm saying? Over this last 4 Sundays in the 24 of Black History Month, because now we getting ready to get into our campaign mode. And we appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? For the last couple of years, I got to give a shout out to all the social club members that have been coming into town, usually this weekend. And since I just got through saying the solstice, you know what I mean? We are aligning ourselves, you know what I mean? That's what we changing up in this year, in the campaign year, that we really going to start moving and doing our annual situation in what they call New Year. We call it New Year. You know what I mean? Which is spring equinox, you know what I mean? Which is March, you know what I mean? March 21st through the 20th. You know what I mean? So we're going to do something virtual. We're going to have a lot of guests. Hope y'all pull up, subscribe to what we got going on for that weekend. A lot of guests and different things on panels and stuff for that weekend. That's what we're working on right now. At the same time, though, we hopefully in the next year we'll be able to pull off actual physical gathering around that time of March during the equinox with all the panels and all the different people. You know what I mean? So tap in Maroonville. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Man, I enjoy coming on the autonomous party, bro. Thank you for, you know, saying pull up on me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You already know I'm coming from the swamps, baby. You already know.
We're gonna get out of here tonight, though. We running after. I had a great time with y'all. We running after. I had to make sure y'all got this work though. And shout out to musicmedialounge.com. Shout out to them after this.
11:45.
To the music. We're going far because it's a great conversation. And this is Black History. We want to end on that note for the people think we don't know what we talking about. Anybody that want to flight or have a conversation or debate about this, you see the people on my panel and different people I bring on. You know we can get into it. You know I get around. So tap in with me. Tap in with the party. The Autonomous Party. The arch reality is live life autonomously. Shout out to our guests. Blaze. We're gonna play Maroon J though. That's how we get out of here,
Blaze.
You know what I mean?
You already know, baby. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
For sure. Shout out to Yamasi, you heard?
Yoko Key. Shout out to Chi. Mado.
Shout out to my dog, say cool, you heard? Keep it moving. Do your thizzle. Esther Lucian Macaria, you heard? All my Maroons out there. Part of my autonomy, you heard? Maranatha.
Ow. This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.